Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Downstar, episode 83. And today, 83, bro. We're cooking. We're cooking lasagna in this bitch.
Yeah, let's go.
Today is a special episode, bro. I'm really excited about this, dude, because you're one guy that I've been wanting to talk to for a while. We always get that 2-minute conversation here and there, but we're sitting down with Mickey from Throttle. Mickey, what's up, bro?
What's up, Frank? Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Only the special ones.
That's real loud.
Only the special ones get the cowbell,
Nice,
bro.
Well, I appreciate that.
Dude, I appreciate you, bro. You made a little trek this morning, man.
Yep, drove up from San Diego and I was a little scared because I Googled it yesterday. And it was about 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
But once I got on the road, it was actually only like 2 hours and some change. So
Yeah, at that time, dude, it's nasty during the day. You know,
no, it was smooth sailing this morning.
Yeah, if you come in the morning, it's cool.
And I used to do this drive, as I told you previously, when I
Yeah,
worked
you were
at
telling me.
AccuAir. I used to cruise right by this exit a couple times a month.
So from San Diego to SLO, you used to make that drive.
4 hours flat.
Wow, that's really good to be honest.
Yeah, I would leave at 4 a.m.
Wow.
So I'd get through LA before the sun even came up, and I'd be pulling into SLO, San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
When the sun was coming up. It was the perfect time because there's no traffic.
So was this like a Monday through Friday thing, or how did it even work out?
No, so we'll get into probably my history of work in the industry, but while I worked at AccuAir, they're based out of San Luis Obispo. I was living in San Diego at the time. They wanted me to come work for them. We had to make a gentleman's agreement that, I was a full-time employee and I had to be there twice a month, basically, for a couple days each time.
Got you.
And so I was making the drive from San Diego back and forth. I could do that drive in my sleep at this point. So when you said where you were, I was like, that's nothing.
Dude, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I always say on this show is that, like, time is the only currency that we really have, dude. And for you to give me shit over 7 hours of your time, man, I really appreciate it.
Small price to pay.
Thank you, man. So for anybody that doesn't know you, give us a little intro in the mind of Mickey.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so I'm a lot older than I look, as you found out today.
You look really good.
So I've been doing this for a long time. I started playing with cars when I was 15. I'm 42 now. Grew up in Akron, Ohio, where there's really not much of a car scene. The car scene there was mostly, in my day, growing up, old hot rods and a lot of Fox body Mustangs and Camaros. And I was the first dude to sort of, in that area, to sort of grab a Honda Civic. And I didn't have a lot of money. I was, just turned 16 or whatever, just got my first car, paid for it myself. It was a 88 Honda Civic hatchback, base model. It's $3,000, I think, at the time. So it was an 88. I bought it in 1990. I guess it would have been 1994. So it's still a pretty new car. Fairly new car back then, 6 years old. I think it was $3,000 out the door.
No way.
Back then, that's stupid cheap. Too. Yeah. So I bought the car, took it home, and I remember it was a manual. I couldn't even drive it home. I didn't know how to drive stick.
Yeah.
So my dad had to drive the car home for me. And that obviously spawned the learning how to drive stick and all that stuff. And I still remember vividly one morning, my dad coming up to my bedroom, waking me up. Boom, boom, get up. Your car leaked fluid all over the floor in the garage. You need to fix it. I was like, oh, shit, what is it? So we go out there, and he's like, it's your radiator. What are you doing today? So I'm fixing my car, I guess. And so he kind of helped me take the radiator out, showed me where to take it. We got it brazed, I think, fixed. Mm-hmm. They repainted it black, and we stuck the stock radiator back in. And I guess I owe it to my dad. So now I'm doing this stuff for a living. Yeah,
dude, that's so sick, man. When you were telling me earlier that you were from Ohio, I had no idea, man.
Yeah.
So what is you were born in Ohio?
Yeah, born and raised in Akron, Ohio. Well, a suburb of Akron, Ohio, which I say Akron just because a lot of people know of Akron because of LeBron James and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But she went to college in Akron, and then I graduated in 2002. tried to sort of find my way after college for about a year and just realized that I was in the wrong community for what I wanted to be doing with my life.
Which was automotive?
Which was automotive.
Okay.
By this time, I had just purchased a brand new 99 Civic Si, Flamenco Black model. I got one of the first ones in the area. Like, I went to the dealer, traded in everything I owned for it. And, you know, my dad thought I was crazy. He's a hot rod guy. It was neat to have a brand new car at that age and something that to me was desirable. The first B16A car other than the Del Sol.
Yeah.
I was a hatchback guy, but I bought a coupe because it had the B16. I wanted it. So it was a brand new car. So I got that, and that sort of fed my flame to sort of start building bigger type builds than I was doing. It was the Civic I built, the hatch I built to sort of keep up with my buddies that had Fox bodies and stuff. So I actually put 150 shot of nitrous on that and blew it.
No shit.
Yeah. Never told my dad. Just blew it up, fixed it one weekend with my buddies, and got rid of the nitrous kit. 'Cause I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure things out, trying to go faster. And that was what I had available to me. So that's what we did. But once I got the 99, I was like, well, let's be a little more diligent about how I build this car. And it was like when Toda sort of started coming into its fame here in the States, a local tuner shop called Rim and Trim. Funny name, but they were actually able to get Toda parts.
Wow.
And then I kind of got the Mugen bug as well. So I started buying from these parts from those guys, and the car actually came out really good. The Mugen bits and stuff for Ohio. That was like everybody was still putting fiberglass wide bodies, and at that time that was the cool thing to do.
So what year was this?
This would have been like 2000.
Okay. Oh shit.
Or late 99. So the car turned out really clean. I loved it. And that car, me selling that car actually funded my move to California. I remember I bought the car for $18,866. And I sold the car for, I think, 17 grand 5 years later.
Wow.
4 years later to move to California. I used the money that I made off the car. I had paid the car off, took that money, and that was my moving money to California.
So about 2004, you moved to California?
Yeah, late 03, early 04, yeah.
How old were you at that time?
I would have been, oh man, that's a tough question, bro. I would have been 23.
So you spent a lot of time in Ohio.
Yeah, 23 years, yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Ohio? Can you paint that picture?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it as quick as possible. I mean, it's a very rural place where I grew up. Akron was the city, so that was like the urban area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great car friends there. The import scene was starting to boom at that point. It was getting a lot bigger. A lot of guys into Subarus, Hondas, Mitsubishi Eclipses. Those were very popular back then because of Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
To paint the picture, I would say the community was basically, to me, was as ripe as it had ever been. So it was really cool to be a part of that scene before I took off. And ironically enough, I was at a car show 2-3 weekends ago in Southern California, and I saw a gentleman who had enlisted in the military was wearing a shirt from Ohio's car scene that said Superfly Sundays, which was something that I was a part of creating back in the early 2000s. It was a car meetup that happened every Sunday in this area, and it's since moved, but it still exists to this day. So, 15 years later or whatever it is, that thing's still going on. It was something that I was part of starting, which is really cool to me. You told me about your tape over there, which
yeah.
You guys aren't privy to, but same sort of feeling I had inside of me. I was like, dang, that's cool.
It's crazy to see like where you've come from, huh?
I really don't know how to I really don't know how to answer that. I don't look at it. To me, time goes by really slow, and I don't know why that is. Inside of me, like my internal clock, It feels like just yesterday that I was, I guess, still there. And it's been, since 03, 04, since I moved out here. it doesn't feel like that long to me. It still feels like it's just a recent thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it's just my mentality. So
yeah, I was just when we just got back from Hawaii, and when we came back, I was trying to get back on schedule, and it's like 2 a.m. and I cannot sleep, dude. So we're supposed to be going up to Lake Tahoe in a couple weeks to go camping, because we used to go there as kids, and my parents, they're taking my nephews, and everybody's gonna go. So we're gonna head up there and go visit them. And I used to live in northern Nevada for about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So in a city called Gardnerville, it's right outside of Carson City, which is in the valley of Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
So if you're in Gardnerville, you look in the mountains and you can see all the ski resorts at night lit up and stuff like that. So I was just on my phone, and I was trying to remember if I can find, just from zooming in without putting it in an address, find my old house.
Oh, yeah.
And then I found it, and then I went on Google Earth, and the Google Earth gives you like the where you could drop the person and see the streets. So I dropped myself in there, and it's just like, it just clicked right back to me. Like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I never think about this part of my life.
Yep.
But this was a significant part of my life.
Yeah, all the memories come back and
quick, dude. Yeah. And the reason that I looked it up is because I want to take my son to the skate park that I used to go to when I was a kid, dude.
That's cool.
And I was looking up the skate park, and it still looks pretty legit, dude. So I'm stoked to go down there.
That's maybe something that he won't really understand today, maybe. But in 10, 15 years, he's going to look back and be like, oh, that's cool.
Definitely,
that's my dad's spot when he was a kid.
I think once I get there, it's going to be such a weird feeling, man, because I remember being at that skate park, and we left from here in 2004, and I didn't come back till about 2007. So I moved over there with little to no friends.
Okay.
I had my cousin that lived there, but when I started working at Best Buy, then I met a couple people. But you're talking like from a lot of friends down here in Oxnard to moving there, and maybe like a handful of friends. So I would go to that skate park, and I can go a whole day without talking to one person.
Really?
I had my iPod Shuffle.
Just jamming.
What was it, like 514 megabytes or something? It was megabytes. It wasn't gigs.
Yep.
I had that shit filled with like all kinds of emo music, Warped Tour music and stuff. And I would just pop it on and just try to skate and try to do what I could do. And I wasn't even busting out, dude, you know, just riding around and stuff. But it's going to be a crazy feeling to get there and just to fast forward however many years to see where things have come.
Yeah, it's insane. I actually have a trip back to Akron next weekend.
No shit.
I'm just going back. I haven't been back in years. And every time I go back, I trip out on how things have changed. Like, you remember getting off this off ramp, and this building was there, this building was there, and I go back there now, and it's totally different. Especially the University of Akron area has changed so much since my time there. I go there and I almost don't even recognize it anymore. But the house I lived in is still there, which is rad.
Really?
So I did, like you, I did the same thing and dropped myself and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that spot. And
it's good to find those businesses and houses that still look the same, but it's crazy. It's when those properties change, or when a new business comes in, or a new street they pave it or whatever. It's like every memory that you've had is just gone.
Yeah,
those memories are gone.
It's a little saddening at times, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. So.
It kind of makes me, in my older age now, it makes me like want to focus on the time that you have in front of you, the memories that you're having at that time.
Yep, for sure.
And trying to appreciate them at that time, rather than in the future looking back like, damn, I wish I would have enjoyed that time when I was there with my family or whatever, you know?
Yeah, you're wise beyond your age, brother, because it took me until about 2 years to sort of have that revelation in my life. And I cherish the time I spend with people a lot more now, because you're not going to get that back. And you don't realize it until you're halfway down the road, but yeah.
And living the lives that we live every day, doing something, you know, Monday to Monday, just busy grinding, meeting these people. It's so easy to just get wrapped up in everything and just let life go by.
Yep. I find myself doing it daily at the shop. I'll get into one of the project cars and I'll be working, and somebody will stop by the shop to drop something off or to say what's up. And I got to take a second and be like, you know what? Put the wrench down, go have a chat, because you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. You may not have that chat. You may have the opportunity to have that chat in a week or the next day or whatever. And that's something I think in your youth you kind of take advantage, or you take it for granted. So to
definitely take it for granted, man.
So now that I'm old, I slow down.
That's good, dude. And that's one thing that I like to talk about on the podcast is lessons that I've learned in life. So hopefully people listening, they're definitely going to go through those same lessons.
Yeah.
And, this is the way that it worked out for me. And maybe you can take that into consideration for however you decide to handle things.
Yeah, for sure.
But even meeting people at car shows and talking to them, I know that they're going to remember this probably longer than I'm going to remember. It's just mathematics, dude. I meet so many people all the time and I'm trying to put everything together, but no matter if I remember that specific person or their name, or I want this interaction that I have with them
to be memorable,
to mean something to that person.
Yep.
So when I'm done having this conversation with this person, they leave from there and think like, wow, that was cool. He didn't have to do that.
Yep. It's everything they wanted it to be. I had a recent moment where Peak Coolants, you probably used them in your cars. They brought us out to an NHRA race, and I met a guy that I've looked up to for years and years and years, John Force. He's a legendary drag racer. I'm finding that guys in their early to mid 20s have no idea who he is. To me, he's the Michael Jordan of drag racing. Like, he's an epic legend, and a lot of people have told me in my day, don't ever meet your heroes because oftentimes they don't live up to your expectations, and it can be a little disheartening. Well, I met John Force, and I posted this on Instagram. He was everything that I wanted him to be and more. He was such a cool dude. He did what we're talking about. He slowed down, even though he's in the middle of a race weekend. He sat down at a table and asked questions about me. It wasn't me talking to him. It was a 50-50 conversation of us going back and forth. I cherished that. There was something that I didn't anticipate. I thought I'd shake his hand, maybe get an autograph, and he'd be on his way. But no, he actually is wanted to learn about me and what made me tick. That was cool. And so now that I've learned that from him, I'm taking that. And I want to be able to do the same thing to people that I meet or someone that may look up to me at some point.
Yeah. And ever since I've met you, bro, you've always been a really friendly guy. I've had those examples of people that they're online and they're influencers or whatever they are, doing their own thing. And then when you meet them, you're just like, that guy was kind of a dickhead, But every time I've met you, dude, you were always really, really cool dude. And also when I posted up yesterday that kind of alluding to you being on the podcast, I had a couple people say that, I met Mickey. He's such a cool guy.
Oh, cool.
It's like, you understand it.
That's good, man. That's good to hear, because it really did. John Force wasn't the only guy that I've had that experience with. I'm an avid ice hockey player, and I've met quite a few talented ice hockey players that play a higher level than myself, and sort of got the same. And it's different, I think, from hockey players are very down-to-earth people in general. So I think it's sort of natural, but to get that from John was really cool. And it was just another reminder of that seed planted again, that slow down, take your time, enjoy the interaction you have with people, because it goes a lot longer or further than the interaction you have with your car or anything else, like an inanimate object. That, at the end of the day, you feel good about it, but you can feel better knowing that maybe you've, made somebody smile or changed their life in some way, shape, or form, which is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I remember going to car shows when I was barely starting out, and pass by booths and stuff, and the guys would be just sitting in the back, lounging,
unapproachable,
just looking at me, and sometimes not even looking, having their conversation, whatever. I'll look at the parts, I'll look up, look at the parts, I'll walk away, and that's it.
Yeah, that's the last time you'll probably make that gesture again.
Yeah,
I won't buy the product or even stop by again unless you meet them offline.
But I've had guys that I walk by and they interact with me, ask questions. Sometimes I'll buy something just to buy it, just a keychain or whatever.
So this leads me to a story. If that's okay. This is your podcast.
Hey, bro, we can talk for 5 hours. I don't give a shit, dude. We'll break it up in 3 parts.
Okay, so I've been around the Honda community for a long time. When you came on the scene, I was very aware.
Really?
I mean, yeah, you were making noise, so of course, yeah. I was already out here in California, and I think at the time we met the first time, that's where this story is going. You don't remember meeting me, I'm sure. But we were at the Queen Mary at
Weekfest.
It was Weekfest, yeah. And my BMW wagon that I built happened to be sort of across the aisle from your booth, but I had just built a BMW wagon, but still in my head, I'm a Honda guy, right? So like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check out Frank's car because he has an SIRS, which I also have. And I remember when I got the car, I knew what it was, but I didn't really understand like sort of all the details of what an SIRS actually was and how rare they actually are. That they only made 3,000 of them. They're only available in Japan. Blah blah blah. It was just neat that you had one, and I had seen it online that you had it and rebuilt it. So I came over to your booth, and you were still sort of setting up. So you were busy getting your booth ready so that you could sell things to people at the event, which was about to start. But you did step aside from your booth, and I think you had your wife or your girlfriend at the time there. She was helping. You took probably 20 minutes of your time and actually talked to me about the SIRS and like what you'd done to yours. And mine was, I think at that point in time, wasn't even done yet. I was still just kind of working on it. And I took that away. And I always knew that I was going to buy product from you at some point, just because you did take that time away from your booth, setting up and getting ready for the show to talk to me about your car. And of course, talking about our cars is fairly easy because we're excited about them, right? But you had other better things you could have been doing, and that to me was cool. So it's come full circle.
That's crazy.
That's basically what I'm getting at, yeah.
Dude, thank you, bro.
And this was, before Throttle, I didn't introduce myself. I might have just said, hell yeah, I got one of these cars too, blah, blah, blah. And you still stood aside and took your time, which to me, that means a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that, dude. And like, I appreciate everybody that comes to talk to us, to stop by the booth, to share whatever they have to share.
It's important because there are a lot of people, and I've done this myself early on when I worked at a few different brands that we would do events, and I find myself not being outgoing, and you kind of have to snap out of that because people remember that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember your booth has those images that are over there on the thing of you guys looking all gangster and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to talk to this guy because I don't know if he's my style. But yeah, he turned out to be not too much different than myself, so pretty cool.
Thank you, bro. Hell yeah, dude. I always keep that into mind, man. It's not something that doesn't come natural to me. When I go to a show and somebody will stop by, like you said, I'll make sure that I ask them questions rather than having them ask me things. Because I can understand it. Still to this day, when I go try to talk to somebody that I look up to or I appreciate what they do, like I get a little nervous, you know, and I hope that the interaction goes well. So I can see it in the people that will come talk to us. And our business has grown in front of everybody's eyes since the day. And I was telling you upstairs, it's just like I never had anybody that really gave me any insight, anything like, hey, you should do it this way, that way. I've just had people been critical of me, and that's it. And I've just had to learn this by myself. So I've went through like some bumpy roads, and I've seen, and people have seen that, you know. So I know that some people, they already have this idea about who we are, what we do, and what we represent. So when they come and they want to come talk to us, I want to make sure that they have the best interaction, because I'm still trying to deal with issues that happened 3-4 years ago. That people still have this stigma of who we are and what we represent.
Yeah, and I think you'll always get that. It's just, what can you do today to help and continue to help the situation? And it seems you're doing that. Yeah,
and I'm trying every day. You know, it's just that I've grown as a person, as we all have. And I think that at the end of the day, that's all that I can really ask from somebody is just to give me that opportunity to make that second impression on you, or at least take who I am as the person rather than what somebody has said or what you thought, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we all are guilty of just seeing an image or hearing from a third party that, oh, this guy's a dick or whatever. And then just, oh, yeah, so-and-so told me that guy's a dick. And think, well, you know what? Maybe I should find out for myself.
Yeah.
You know, because maybe he's not that bad. Maybe the guy was having a bad day.
Yeah.
And that happens to all of us.
And that's one thing, too, is that sometimes I got to step back and think like, yeah, well, maybe that dude was having a bad day that day and give them the credit that I would expect somebody to give me.
Yep. Bit of a second chance.
Yeah. So you do some meet and greets every once in a while.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you do something like that?
You know, man, this whole, Throttle and YouTube, and it's all sort of come, pretty quickly. It's been 3 years, and a lot of people step back and look at us, and they may have just heard of Throttle, 2 months ago or a year ago, and it looks like it was like an overnight thing, and, the YouTube channel blew up overnight and all that stuff, and I think we're approaching 450,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is...
congrats, bro.
None of us saw this coming. In fact, I stayed off... When we started our YouTube channel, I stayed off the camera for almost a year and a half.
Really?
I did not want anything to do with it. It's just not... It's not the vibe I wanted to give off. I didn't want to look like I was searching for attention, that sort of feeling inside of myself. I didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Finally, a couple... TJ Hunt was one of the main guys he started putting me in his videos, his YouTube channel videos, where I was building his RX-7 for him. And it was very awkward for me. I didn't take to it really well. I would have rather just been left off. But he's like, dude, you're good. You know what you're talking about. You're good at this. Just be yourself, bro. And so that's what I started doing. And then, Throttle's YouTube channel, we started focusing on our builds and putting that out there. And it sort of became easier on me to today, where we're doing it every day. It's just second nature at this point. So the meet and greet stuff came as sort of a result of the YouTube channel starting to grow. And so we were being asked to come to car shows and things like that by the promoters. And it's one of the best things that's actually happened in this whole YouTube game, is that I actually get to go to car shows, which I probably would attend anyway, because I'm into cars. And normally you would go to a car show if you don't have a booth. You guys always have a booth, so it's a little different for you, but take yourself out of that role. You're just going to car shows to walk around and enjoy what people have built, which is what I like to do. Now you get to meet a lot of those people you normally would just walk by or bump into, right? And now you can actually have a meaningful conversation with most of these people because they're interested to talk to me. Before, didn't have the YouTube as a catalyst, and nobody knew who I was. Now they're seeing me a lot, and they're interested to learn more about me, and I'm interested to learn about them. So it's a really cool thing, and I really enjoy it, believe it or not. And that was one thing I enjoyed about playing hockey, too, is getting to meet all the little kids that came to the games. Like, I'd be the last guy in the locker room at the end of the game. Everybody would be in the showers, and I'd still be walking in with all my gear on because I was out talking to the little kids that were there to watch us play. And it just sort of came from that, and now I'm doing it in the car space, and I love it. Like, I absolutely love talking to the people at the events.
Dude, that's so tight, bro. It's tight that you have that mentality because I've posted up this before, and we've talked about it, that a lot of people in your space aren't who they are on camera. And it seems like you're more than you are in camera. On camera, you're more of the technical guy, the guy that everybody goes to that knows how to do it. Every time, if you listen to TJ's video, Throttle video, anything, it's Mickey this, Mickey that. Oh, I fucked this up, so I had to tell Mickey.
You want to know why that is? Because I fucked up a lot of shit.
That's how you get there, bro.
And I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by a lot of very talented car builders in the last 15 years. Working at Falcon Tire, I moved to California. I guess we didn't talk about my background at all.
So before we get ahead of everything, I want to know a little more about Mickey from before cars. Mickey growing up, what was your life like? What were things that you were into?
Okay, so at 15 months old, I started ice skating.
15 months?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
It happens when your mom is a figure skating teacher and your dad is an ice hockey player.
Oh, shit. There you go.
So I still have my first hockey skates, and they're about yay big.
No shit.
And they're made out of leather. They're older than... I think they may have been in the Bible.
Oh, wow, dude.
I have them framed in a picture box.
Oh, no way.
On my
That's
wall
so
at home.
tight, dude.
It's one of my most cherished possessions.
15 months.
So at 15 months old, I started ice skating, and there started my love for ice hockey. My mom would take a hockey puck with her to her figure skating classes. She'd throw my skates on before the class started, and she would start teaching her class. She would just take the puck and throw it across the ice and say, "Go get it."
Mm-hmm.
And I would cry and cry. I can't. And then I finally learned how to skate, and then my love for hockey started. Started playing ice hockey at the age of 3, and I was playing with 5-6-year-old kids. So I developed my skill set very fast at a very young age. I ended up playing ice hockey at a highly competitive level until I was about 18, where at that point you either go to college and play, or you play juniors, or you get drafted.
Yeah.
So in the midst of all that, when I was in junior high, my mom wanted to keep me in sport outside of hockey to stay out of trouble, keep me out of trouble. So I joined track and field, which is a summer sport. I was playing hockey year-round, spring hockey, summer hockey, winter hockey, but I was also running track, and I was very small. I was a late bloomer. I think my first license at 16 said 4'11", 86 pounds. I wish I still had that license. But when I was in junior high, I was even smaller, and I was shy. So we're sitting in this big-ass auditorium. Track coach is in the front of the room, and he says, "Okay, who wants to run the 100-meter dash?" People put their arms up. Usually the laziest people. It's the shortest race, but they're the fastest. And the last race is the mile. And I never raised my hand for any of the other events because I was too shy to stick my hand in the air. So they said, "Okay, anybody who hasn't raised their hand yet, you're running the mile at the meet this weekend." So I ended up being a miler. And I set the school record my first time out trying it.
What was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember at this point. It was probably pretty slow, but for somebody that was 12 or 13 years old, it was decently fast. And for my school, they'd never had anybody go that fast before. So I instantly became a runner. And I don't know if it's genetics or what, I picked it up really fast. I ended up holding the high school record for the 3,000 meter run up until just a couple of years ago.
No way.
And went on to get a scholarship for Akron University for running track and field. I was a miler, 3,000 meter steeplechaser, and a 5,000 meter runner. So that's one thing that most people in the car world do not know about me.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. That's funny because I was a late bloomer as well, dude. Yeah. I've told this story before. There's a city here called Hueneme, and there's a Hueneme Elementary and Hueneme High School. Okay. And somebody, maybe a parent's friend or something, asked me, "Oh, what school do you go to?" And I said, "Oh, I go to Hueneme." And they said, "Oh, Hueneme Elementary, that's cool." And I'm like, "Dude, fuck you, bro.
I'm in high school. Okay?
I'm in high school. This isn't my fault." Super late bloomer, dude. I don't think I even looked like my age until like the mid-20s. Yeah. And I used to run cross country as well.
I also ran cross country as well. So that was, everybody sees me, they see me as a car guy. Yeah. Right? Because that's the media that we put out. Yeah. But the reality is I'm actually a hockey player that's into cars. I still play hockey 2, 3, 4 times a week right now at 42. And I don't run anymore. I ran consistently for, I think it was 9 years straight, pretty much almost every day, and minimum of 8 or so miles a day. When I ran my last race in college, I podiumed. I think I got second or third in the steeplechase. Stood on the podium, got my picture taken, got my little medal, walked off the track. I didn't run again for like over a year.
Why was that?
Cold turkey, just stopped. I was over it. Sort of got that way with hockey too. As I played from the age of 3 to 18, almost year round. I was bored. I was going there. I was showing up just because I had to. Mm-hmm. I felt in my insides was like, oh, I need to be there because this is what I do. Mm-hmm. And you start going through the motions and you don't excel at that point because you're not putting forth 110% effort. You're putting forth 85% effort just because you feel like you need to be doing it, right? Because you've done it your whole life. It was a big downfall for me. I look back now and I would have changed things if I could. But those are things in our past and we can't do that. I enjoyed it. I loved playing hockey my whole life. I still play to this day because I love it to death. Running, not so much. I did what I had to do in the running world, and I did my best, and I'm proud of what I accomplished, and I'm done with that. So my knees can't really handle it anymore.
Yeah, at this age, dude, everything starts shutting down.
It's not worth it. You can easily get on an elliptical or a bike and ride and not beat your body up. So if I were to get back into an endurance sport, it would probably be cycling or something like that.
Yeah, dude, speaking of knees, I was just skating with my son, and there's a six stair, and I'm trying to do the six stair because I never did one in my life. Getting super close, bro, like landing it but slipping off. Boom. And then a couple times I landed on my knee. It still hurts now, and this was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and it's not hurt like it's bruised.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's cracked because if I press it, like right now it feels perfect, but if I press the kneecap in a certain way, it's like a shocking pain, dude.
And the older you get, it doesn't heal any faster, bro.
But I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna see.
Leave it be.
Just leave it. See what happens.
Yeah, let it heal itself up a little bit first.
So you were always into sports. What did you do besides sports? Did you have any free time?
That's where cars came in, man. Cars and obviously girls. It's normal things for a dude growing up. The car stuff sort of took over for me, and that's when I started pursuing. Fast and Furious movie came out in 2000,
something like that.
And by 2003, I was like, I need to get to Southern California. That's where it's all going down. I could stay in Akron, but I'm probably not going to get anywhere. The only real claims to fame Akron has for car stuff is Summit Racing is based in Talmadge, Ohio, which was right up the street from me.
Really?
Which was really cool. Cool story. My 99 Civic SI was the first import car ever to be in the carousel front window of Summit Racing and the cover of one of their catalogs as well.
No shit.
Yeah, so those are things that I cherish, but I don't talk about.
Do you still have it?
I still have it.
No way.
I still have a photo of the car on the carousel inside the brand new Summit Racing building, which would have been 2001 or something. They always had hot rods and muscle cars and stuff on those twin carousels. Yeah. There you had a 99 Honda Civic. It was the first time they had ever done that. I don't know if they've ever done it again, to be honest. Wow. I haven't been back there, but to me that's a feather in my cap that I don't talk about. I enjoy knowing that I did that.
Yeah.
And I don't need to tell people about it. It's cool.
So why do you feel like there's these things that you don't want to discuss or don't discuss publicly? Do you like to be mysterious?
No, it's not even that, dude. It's just that I don't feel like I need to toot my own horn. If people want to find that stuff out, they can. There's this thing called the internet, and they can look it up.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd rather know more about the person I'm talking to than me telling them my old war stories about a car I built 20 years ago. It's irrelevant at this point. It didn't really change anything for anybody, right? It's not like I'm some pioneer or anything like that. It's just stuff was going on. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. So to me, there's much more things I would like to know about a person than telling them about me. So to ask them questions and hear what makes them tick is way cooler to me.
Yeah. But you have a long history, man, of things.
Yeah, a long history. I guess maybe I should speak about where I came from once I moved to California.
Yeah, I want to get to the California part of things, but when you were in Ohio still, how did you get how did you get into the culture of Hondas? Like, was there an actual culture of Hondas, and what kind of media did you have to show you the world outside of Ohio?
Oh yeah,
feature like Hondas and stuff.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, so there was, by the early 2000s, there was quite a scene growing up, especially or growing in that area, especially since Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. That was like the fire that lit everything off, especially in that area. I don't know how it was out here because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
But I was working in a tuner shop doing vinyl graphics, which is another thing a lot of people don't know about me. I actually owned a vinyl shop.
Out in Ohio?
Yeah. So, and there's a long story to that as well. But I was working in a tuner shop doing vinyl graphics for them, sort of as a subcontractor. But I had an office inside there with my vinyl plotter and all that stuff.
What was it called?
Shop was called Rim and Trim. So it was the same shop I used to buy my parts from. They had then hired me to come in.
But did you have a name for your vinyl business?
Oh yeah, it was called Graphics. GRAPHX.
Ooh, hell yeah!
Back then, that was super cool.
That's super Fast and Furious for sure.
So, what was cool was because we were, as I mentioned earlier, we were so close to Summit Racing. I knew a lot of the guys there, and they reached out because they wanted to, because of Fast and Furious, they wanted to be selling decals of the partner brands that they were selling. So Matrix and all these other companies like AEM, that they weren't supplying stickers to really? Summit. I was making them and packaging them through my partner and selling them to Summit, who was then selling them through their catalog. That was a pretty big deal.
No shit.
I still have the catalog with my car on the cover, and then they had all the stickers for sale in the catalog.
Dude, I want to see a picture of that, bro.
I'll send you a photo. Yeah. I just found it when I moved recently. So that led to Modern Image Signworks in Huntington Beach reaching out to me and asking me if I wanted to come to California and work out here. And to me, that was the golden ticket. I was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to go to California, Southern California specifically, because this is where all the cool shit's happening. So Modern Image flew me out. I did an install while I was there, and they evaluated it and ended up offering me a position. So I took the position, moved to California, basically sold everything I owned, including that 99 Civic, to make the move. Got to working there, and I worked there for I think less than a year, and I got an opportunity to go interview for a marketing position at Falcon Tire. Wait, are we getting off on the wrong track here?
Dude, we could go wherever fucking track you want, dog.
Okay. So this is going to get into where my career starts.
Let's do it.
So my career in automotive started at Modern Image. So I owe a lot to Robert Wilson, the owner of Modern Image, and the movie Fast and Furious, because that's where this kind of all came together. This spawned all of my interests. And the scene in Akron was basically following that Fast and Furious model of like the way the cars were built and all that stuff. That was already being done in California.
So was the movie kind of what you thought California was like, or was there something else? Was there online? Was there magazines that you would look at? Or
I'm sorry, I skipped over that whole part. So of course I was a Super Street Reader, Import Tuner, all those magazines, okay. All the way down to the OG TMR and stuff like that.
Okay,
we
cool.
We would randomly get those. Okay. Like I would have to go search them down because they weren't really distributed out there. But I went to Nopi Nationals in 2002, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier. I met some of my heroes at Nopi Nationals: Adam Sawatari, Abel Ibarra, some of these other guys that I'm now friends with, ironically, which is really crazy to me, because these were guys that like I would walk up to with these giant eyes, like, oh my God, this is so and so. He was on the cover of Super Street. I was that guy. I was that kid.
Yeah.
Like I looked up to all these dudes, and I went on the Nopi tour in 2002. My car was being used in a booth. I'm trying to recollect all this now. I was asked to have my car in the booth of Intrax Suspension. Way back then, they were a very popular spring and coilover manufacturer back in the day. My buddy Brian Dumont, his car was supposed to be in their booth, but he couldn't make it. So he hooked them up with me. That gave me a tie to Southern California.
Oh, okay.
So I went on the Nopi tour. I was super pumped. Like, this kid from Akron, his car is going to be in this booth at Nopi Nationals. I was so excited. Like, that was like a dream come true for me. Drove the tour, had an absolute blast.
So you drove with
I
them?
drove the Nopi tour. Remember they used to have stops?
I got into this about 2007, 2008, bro.
Snap.
So everything you're telling me,
for you. Okay.
I'm trying to understand it.
Okay, so Nopi would actually do a super street tour. For many years they did this.
Okay.
So the event is actually in Atlanta, Georgia, right? At the Speedway. That's where the culmination of the tour was.
Okay.
So they had like a West Coast leg, a Midwest leg, and an East Coast leg. Well,
got you.
And I think, if I remember correctly, the Midwest leg and the East Coast leg met up halfway to Atlanta. And so there's this massive crowds of import cars, like Fast and Furious graphics, like just outlandish shit, loud exhaust. And we were just cruise, and they had stops planned along the way at like Hooters restaurants and all these other places where we would stop, meet other enthusiasts. This is where I met Jonathan Wong. This is where I met Ricky Chu. I met Steph Papadakis, Christian Rado, all these guys on the tour. And to me, as I told you earlier, like meeting these guys that I could only ever see in a magazine, I'm standing in Christian Rado's race trailer with his rear wheel drive. I can't remember what it was back then, Super or whatever he was drag racing, was like in the trailer up on the second story. And I'm just like blown away, just partying with these guys, hanging out, chilling, and getting to realize that they're no different than us, bro. But they're in Southern California, so they've got access to Super Street, Import Tuner, all these outlets where I was getting all my information from. This is where sort of everything all came together for me. And when that opportunity for Modern Image arose, I was like, I'm gone. Let's do this. So Nopi is where I met Adam Swawatari, who is a legendary old school import drag racer who I've recently re-met up with via phone because of YouTube. Yeah. He watches our YouTube channel at Throttle. So he called me, got my number from Abel Ibarra, which this is all just mind blowing right now. But so these are all dudes that I used to really look up to, and now they're peers.
Yeah.
So cool. And all of them are rad people, just as I had hoped they would be. Super helpful guys. And, my rotary addiction, Abel's been a huge help with that, with keeping me on the straight and narrow and keeping the cars running and stuff. But so to get back to sort of how I got to where I am today, all of that stuff had to happen, and it fueled my fire to get to Southern California. Robert from Modern Image moved me to California to work for him. I worked there for, like I said, a little under a year, and I got this opportunity to go interview at Falcon Tire, which I knew Falcon, but like they were an up and coming brand, a Japanese brand, which I thought was cool. I was very into Japanese everything, as I still am. I went and interviewed, and they had a very small marketing team. It was basically a guy by the name of Nick Fusekis, who's still at Falcon to this day, which is awesome. He had just been hired about a year previously to take over some marketing activities. And the week that I moved to Southern California was actually the week of the first drift show-off held by Ken Miyoshi and Falcon Tire. And they flew in a couple drivers from Japan, shipped their cars over, and they did this whole demo at Irwindale Speedway. And I remember seeing that and going, oh my God, this is awesome. Well, here we are a few months later, and I'm interviewing for a marketing position to work with that program and the guy that put that together. So to me, it was like a lot of things happened because I put myself in the right place at the right time. Got the interview, got the job. The marketing department consisted of Nick and me. That was it.
Did you have any marketing experience?
Zero. I had a degree from University of Akron for business with a minor in marketing. So I'm actually a communications major, and I have a minor in marketing.
Yeah.
So what was funny was I was in the interview at Falcon, and I'm sitting across this like what felt like 150-foot boardroom table. Nick's sitting next to me, and the president of Falcon sitting all the way at the other end of the table. I was like, how you doing down there? And he's he asked Nick, for my resume. So Nick slides, and this is like in the day of where paper was actually relevant.
Yeah.
Slides my resume down on the table, and he looks at it, and it felt like an hour went by. He's reading my resume. It was probably like 10 seconds. And he takes the paper and slides it back down the table to Nick, and he goes, hey, Mickey, what job do you want here? because whatever job you want, it's yours.
No shit.
And I was like, what the heck? And he goes, I know this is going to sound really weird to you, but we have the exact same collegiate degree. Says you have a major in interpersonal communication and a minor in marketing, and that's a very odd combination to have. And he basically, because of that, said the job's yours.
And what made you want to pick the marketing? Just because of your...
I wanted to do marketing because I wanted to be involved in the events and traveling to the events. And Falcon was already doing that. They had a little 2-car trailer, well, a big 2-car trailer that they would take off to all these events. And I had actually seen them previously at Carlisle, PA, which is another big venue back east for enthusiasts. They have all kinds of different car shows. Well, I had ventured out there with my Civic, saw Falcon there, knew they were doing events, and I wanted to be a part of that. When the job opportunity came up, I made myself presentable, went there, did my thing, got hired, which was awesome. So at that point, I was on board with Nick. He had kicked off the drifting thing with the show off that happened just a few months earlier. And they were hot on drifting. So it was like, let's go. Let's figure out how we can make this drifting thing work. And so Nick and I, worked together, devised a plan. And, he's basically the reason drifting is what it is in the States today, because he took a chance on his career to bring those guys from Japan to put on a show, and people fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So we owe that to him.
It's crazy that there's these certain dudes in the community that if they didn't make those moves, it wouldn't be what it is today.
And to know the background stories of all that is really cool. I could go on for hours with these background stories of things that I've seen happen. And at the time, you don't think anything of it. But you look back 10 years later and it's like, holy shit, if this guy didn't do this, we wouldn't be doing this at all. Like, it probably wouldn't have even happened. So Nick is that guy. Like Nick stuck his neck out and basically put Falcon on the map for drifting. And that's why they're so strong in drifting today, because they still look back at that as a big monumental moment in their company history. And it is. And that's why, during my time there, I moved up I was managing the motorsports department under Nick. And at one point in time, I think we had 12 drift cars that I was managing and 12 drivers that we had on contract. It was a big job for one person to handle. So then we started hiring guys to work under me as car managers, and they took care of the cars and getting the parts ordered and getting the cars to the repair shops to get fixed after each round and all that. And mind you, this is very early on in drifting, and if you smack your rear bumper on the wall at an event, it didn't necessarily get fixed for the next round. It may have got
zip tie.
A new bolt put in or a zip tie thrown through it. And
Yeah.
Nowadays at pro drifting level, you scratch up your rear bumper, you put a new bumper on. You can't be seen with damage on your car anymore.
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't like that. And
so they trip on that stuff right now?
They don't trip on it, but the teams want to put off a presentable image to their sponsors. So you show up to a round with a lot of damage on your car, it doesn't look good for the sponsors.
I never even thought about that. Okay.
Yeah, you never see a NASCAR car show up to a race. Heck, they'll come in and change a panel out if it's damaged in most cases in most racing. Just because the sponsor's name is on the car, they want to put off a nice presentable image for their sponsor because they want them to come back the next season. So, in the early days of drifting, that wasn't a thing. Now it is, and it's cool to see all that stuff happen. I was a part of that from day one, which is really cool. So I worked at Falcon under Nick for I guess it was 5 years, so like 2003 to 2008. And at that point, when I left in 2008, I went off to start my graphics business again. So got this massive plotter, got all this inventory, started doing vinyl graphics. Actually picked up all the Falcon work, so I was doing all the deliveries for all the Falcon drift cars and then a lot of the other ones as well. I did that for about 2 years, and then my fiance Courtney Day, who I also met because she was a spokesmodel for Falcon, I met her while I worked there. We hit it off, started dating. She's from San Diego, so now you can kind of see how I ended up in San Diego.
Yeah.
She said, my grandparents are getting older, I need to help out with the family stuff. Can we move to San Diego now that we don't really have any ties up in the Inland Empire? She took me down into San Diego, and I just fell in love with it. So we moved to San Diego, and the problem with living in San Diego is there's not a whole lot of automotive industry down there. So most of the automotive industry is in Huntington Beach, like, more north SoCal, I guess is the best way to put it. But HRE Wheels is down there, which is a iconic wheel brand, one of the probably the finest U.S. built wheels. And I went in for they had a sales position open, and I went in and interviewed for it, and they gave me the job just on my background at Falcon and the tire industry and all that. But I wasn't much of a salesman, so I ended up weaseling my way back over into the marketing department, which they didn't have one at the time. They really had nobody doing marketing. So at that time, the brand was really stale. It was 2008. It was 2010. And they were doing no marketing other than like Rob Report and like these high-end like magazines where people would buy exotic cars and stuff like that. So this was like when Instagram and Facebook, Instagram probably wasn't even around at that point.
I think it was like a year or so later,
was the place to market, and I was doing that for them. I started kind of doing the online social media thing for them and helping with that. And then they hired a director of marketing who was a friend of the president. He came in, we hit it off. We worked together as a two-man team, and over the next 2 or 3 years sort of rebranded the whole company as a iconic original wheel brand that deserved the respect that it had. It had been around for 25 years, I think, at that time, and nobody even knew that.
Yeah.
Did you know that HRE Wheels started out as Hayashi Racing?
No.
Which is a Japanese company?
No.
Yeah. So a guy named Gene Howald, who's from San Diego, bought out Hayashi Racing's inventory because they brought a bunch of stuff to the States to sell, and it failed. So he bought all of their wheel faces and rim halves and stuff and created Howald Racing Enterprises, utilizing the H and the R from Hayashi Racing, and made it HRE. And if you go back and look at Hayashi Racing's HR logo, it's the same letter style font that HRE uses today. Oh, wow. So there's a crossover. It's a really neat company history. So Gene sold the company to a couple investors, and they kept it afloat all these years. Unfortunately, the marketing slipped. They were just sort of stuck in their ways doing the magazine ads and stuff like that, where Patrick and I were able to bring them up to speed, get them on the internet, and get them going again. And Patrick was integral in recreating the look of the feel of the company as well at SEMA and in their catalogs and stuff like that. So really enjoyed my time at HRE, but it came to an end when I got an opportunity to work for Ken Block. The Hoonigan Racing Division brought me on to help out, and things did not work out. I only worked there for 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Oh, shit.
I didn't even get a chance to get my foot in the door. So I went back to HRE, and I stayed there for about another year. And but that's where I met Ken Block and his team. I had already known Brian Scotto, who's the founder of Hoonigan, with Ken. So those guys have become good friends of mine, even though I didn't work there very long. But it wasn't because of my personality that I didn't work there long. It was some other things that were going on. And we've actually become good friends to this day. I was at Brian's wedding, and nice. Now that we're in the YouTube space with Hoonigan at Throttle, I'm in touch with Brian quite often now, which is pretty cool. This car world has just really done a lot for me. So, but it's because I've presented myself and put myself in good positions, I think, to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of me.
It's opportunities, man. That's all it is. It's taking advantage of these opportunities and putting yourself out there. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I could definitely relate to all the stuff that you're saying, because I can pinpoint so many opportunities that if I just didn't make this interaction, if I didn't help out this person, if I didn't take myself out of this uncomfortable, or put myself in an uncomfortable space, then maybe that wouldn't have happened. And then I wouldn't be here at this time.
Yeah, or even failures. I mean, I said I only worked at Hoonigan for 3 weeks. That was a failure. That was a failure on my part. Did I let it bring me down? Hell no. In fact, it jacked me up. It got me excited to go do things right, the proper way, and prove myself. I hit the ground running. I got hired at AccuAir Suspension, like we talked about earlier, up in San Luis Obispo. So this drive up here to your shop from San Diego is nothing to me. I used to do it all the time. So I never actually moved to San Luis Obispo while I worked at AccuAir, even though they're headquartered there. I lived in San Diego. I was a full-time employee, and part of my requirement was to be up there once or twice a month for a few days. So I was driving back and forth a lot, which is a 4-hour drive. I worked there for about a year, and at that point, it was either time to shit or get off the pot. So they're like, you know what, dude, you need to either move to San Luis Obispo, or we're probably going to move on with someone local that's going to be in our, be here all the time.
And you were doing marketing there?
I was doing marketing and, helping with all the marketing stuff and a lot of things. I was doing all the event stuff for them and all that as well. So as I moved on from there, because I couldn't move to San Luis Obispo because of our ties in San Diego with Courtney's family.
Definitely, yeah.
I had to pass on the opportunity to continue to work there. And that's when Throttle started.
And what year was this?
2015. So what's ironic is I ended up, after a year away from AccuAir, we started Throttle, me and my partners, and we were cranking away, but it was a slow go. In fact, it was failing in the beginning. And the guys at AccuAir actually reached out to me and said, you want to come back? Because we could use your help. And looking back now, I worked there again for a second stint up until December of last year, December 2018. And I walked away on my own terms because Throttle was being successful. And I cannot tell you how good that felt. And I also can't tell you how much debt of gratitude I owe those guys for bringing me on for another year, because they saw that I was driven to start something and I needed financial stability to make it happen. I was putting all of my life savings, as were my partners, into Throttle. The guys at AccuAir were so smart to stand back and see what I was doing was what I was passionate about, and I needed help. And they helped me. They employed me for a year, gave me a paycheck for a year so that I could afford to get Throttle off the ground. And when I was ready to fly, they said, go fly. And I'll never forget that. That's something that doesn't happen in this world too often to people, and those guys will always be, they'll be heroes to me. They looked after me when I didn't think anybody was even paying attention to what we were doing. Throttle was nothing at the time.
There's not too many people like that, man.
There's not. And if you guys are ever in the market for air suspension, that's one reason why you should buy AccuAir, because the dudes that own it are salt of the earth guys, and they're very cognizant of the people around them. So that's sort of my story, dude. So here we are, Throttle, 2019.
So let's get into Throttle. At the beginning, what was the idea of what Throttle was going to be? What did you want it to be, your vision? Yeah, so
I don't know if I've ever actually given you the whole story on Throttle. So Throttle actually started because my partners, Rick and Evan Beckerman, they're from back east, Buffalo, New York, I believe. They were buying and selling a lot of cars. Rick's a Porsche guy. He was buying and selling, flipping Porsches a lot. Evan was a Honda guy, Preludes and Integras and stuff. And they were buying a lot of parts and selling them to sort of make side money. Well, at that time, the forums were like the place to be, right? NWP, all these other forums. Everybody would go search for used parts. Well, because those two had, different ideals of what they wanted to be buying and selling. This guy's over here doing Porsche stuff. This guy's over here doing Honda stuff. They're always searching the forums for Honda or Porsche parts. Well, as you know, there's always multiple forums, right? So remembering your password, going through the motions of logging in, then searching. They wanted to create a platform that would allow you to just type in 1994 Integra headlight. It would scour all the forums for headlights for sale for a 94 Integra, bring them into Throttle, and then you have everything in one place. So you log into one site, it searches the whole internet for you, finds the parts that you're looking for, and puts them into Throttle. And then you can reach out and contact that person via.
Oh, shit.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So they brought me in November of 2015, 14. I can't remember. It's been 3 years, so 15. And said, hey, we need marketing help. Everybody to them, I knew everybody in the industry. I don't, but to them, I was the guy closest to them, was in San Diego, and I knew a lot of industry heads. So they wanted me to help them market the brand. So we started that, and I gotta tell you, dude, starting this company really allowed me to see who my real friends were because I reached out to quite a few people to get them to support Throttle, and I got treated pretty shitty by quite a lot of people that I looked up to.
No way, dude.
Yeah. People that said, we got your back. And when I did come to them, when I wasn't working at a brand that could benefit them, it was crickets, bro. There are a handful of people that stood behind me, and I know who those people are. And at some point, they will get taken care of because they said, you know what, Mickey? I see your vision. I like it. I want to support you. And these were companies that came on and they're paying $200 a month to sponsor the platform that they didn't know if it was going to be a success or not, but because I was involved and they liked me as a person, they wanted to help.
Yeah.
To me, that's awesome. Like, that's something that I want to give back at some point in my career to do for upstart brands and stuff like that. So that's another story. We started Throttle with that platform in mind, but it's changed so much since then. It still exists, and you can buy and sell used car parts on Throttle because we created this marketplace. It's very unique because there is eBay out there. There is Craigslist out there. There's Facebook Marketplace. And these are all great places to buy and sell parts. The one thing that Throttle did was they created, another thing Throttle did was they created basically a way to communicate with the seller without ever having to give your address or your phone number through the site, which I thought was really good because I always hated giving out my address on Craigslist or my phone number because you never know who these scammers are. Throttle was able to sort of vet that a little bit and make a better platform, I thought. And that was our selling point. So we created this thing, and today now we're selling new parts as well. So we have used car parts and car sales. We've got new car part sales. And in order to market the platform, we created our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel was just a tool, and now it's actually become our main asset at this point. I mean, we sell parts, but we do YouTube videos. We build project cars to give away to our users to drive part sales and to drive signups for our programs. And looking back now, it's a pretty damn good idea.
Hell yeah.
We didn't know this was our end game, but it has become that, and we've got other things planned that are even further down the road. And when it happens, you guys are all going to be like, oh, shit, I didn't see that coming, which is really cool to me. Yeah. And the fact that we were able to pull it off and in 3 short years build a brand that's pretty well known. I mean, I go to a car show and people know who Throttle is. That's pretty neat.
Definitely, man.
To me, I mean, in the beginning, we go to a show and talk about Throttle, and you start getting into like what it is, and you start getting the eye rolls and the people like looking around and not paying attention. And now they're engaged. They know who we are already. The conversations are way easier to have. And it's really, really cool to have been a part of an upstart business that was nothing and was not taken seriously to now I've got big brands in the automotive space reaching out to us to see how they can get involved. Where in the beginning I was cold calling and getting laughed at. So it's neat to see in 3 short years this sort of ability for us to take something that was nothing and make it into something that's known and may not be usable to everyone, or people still might think, oh, it's nothing, but we're not going to stop. You know, we want to do this. We want to see it through, and we think it's a cool idea. And we feel like we're doing the automotive community a service by building these project cars on the channel. People can watch these cars get built, see every part that goes on them, and then have a chance to actually win it. And we've given away at this point, I think, 6 or 7 cars. And it's the best feeling ever, man. Like, giving away a piece of something that I built and something that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into to someone that appreciates it and watch it get built and get to enjoy it at the end of the day is awesome. The guy that's going to win the guy that won the 240 that we just gave away is coming the first weekend of next month to pick it up.
No.
And I'll be honest, dude, we put so much heart and soul into that thing.
Dude, that guy's so lucky, bro. That car is fire.
Yeah. And so he's going to get to drive that home. Like, he doesn't have to do anything but show up at our door and we're handing him the keys. Boom.
Shit.
And there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, this is all fake. They're giving the cars to their friends and all this stuff. And there's a lot of hate on the internet right now about it. But the fact of the matter is we're building cool shit. We're documenting it. We're putting it on the internet for everybody to see. There's full transparency, and we're giving it away.
Yeah.
And it feels good. It feels right. And I love doing it.
There's always going to be those people around, bro. It's because they're just so small-minded, and it really says a lot more about them than it does to you, because if they had that opportunity, that's what they would do. They would give it away to their friend so they can just keep all the money.
Yeah.
But at one point, it's more than money.
Yeah.
You know, this is your reputation that you're building on top of.
It's more than money. And honestly, like, money's important. I mean, we're a business. We're in business to make money. Just as your business is in business to make money. Of course, we're trying to make money. First 5 cars we gave away, we lost money. I can tell you that Rick, Evan, and I have all blown through our life savings to make Throttle happen. So if there's any doubt in your mind that what we're doing, it's a business. It is. We're trying to make money. We're trying to make this a model that people can look at and be like, that was smart. And we're getting there. We finally are starting to actually see months where we're not having holes in our bank accounts, which is really cool. And the 240SX was the pinnacle of our program at this point. We think the next one will be the next benchmark. So
that car came out really, really good.
Thank you.
If I was to build a 240, it would be just like
Similar
that.
to that.
That same kit, the same attention to detail. Yeah. It came out really nice, dude.
And so I guess, coming full circle, like, I'm working in the automotive industry building rad cars every day that I get to give away to someone and make them happy. You can't have a better job if you're into cars.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked myself into a position at a brand that I was able to help start, and I get to go to work every day excited because I'm going to go work on something that I'm passionate about, and I get to see this dude smile when he comes and gets the keys for it when he wins it. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, dude. I don't think.
No, dude, definitely not. You've worked yourself into a very great space, man. Yeah. Congratulations, Mickey.
Thank you. I never thought of myself as a grease monkey, but you can tell by my hands. I've been working hard on cars, so
good for you.
But I enjoy
That's
it, dude.
awesome, bro. And for you to do it for these right reasons, I don't see it going anywhere else but up, man.
That's good. I'm glad you see it, dude, because a lot of people just think it's some backhanded thing, and it's not. It is what it looks like on the outside. Ever
since we've been working together, I've seen what you guys were doing, and more than just Throttle, it was you as a person, how we interacted together, how appreciative you were about the parts that we would send, and ever since the beginning, man, you came off as like a really genuine person, and those are the kind of people that I like to deal with. We don't deal with that many people. The guys that have our stuff, more than not, they just went to the website and bought the parts. And it's just that they feel comfortable about the brand. They like what the brand represents, and they want it to be part of their build. And I appreciate that as much as I can, dude. Like, this is my life. This allows me to live this life that I can. So when they tell me thank you, I'm like, no, bro, thank you. Like, without you supporting, without people seeing your car that you built out of your time and the parts that you chose to use, and that represents us. Like,
it drives the other people's desires to have what they have too. So if they see that they're using your product, they're likely going to buy it, right? Because they want that as well. It's brilliant, and it's smart marketing.
And that's the kind of marketing that I like to do, like handshake marketing. I like to deal with people that are real people. Not just a contract, not I'm going to pay you this much. Every time you mention Downstar on Throttle, you're going to make this much. It's not like that. But when it comes to the point where we're in Hawaii and Mickey says, hey, we're working on something, can you take care of me? I got you, bro. It's no problem to me, because...
And that's the real thing. That actually happened.
It just happened last week.
If you guys watch our channel, we're working on a Porsche wide body, and I reached out to Frank because Frank was kind enough to set us up with a dope kit that we have in the shop that I get to pull from every day. And thankful for him, because I'm very picky about the hardware that I use. We now have the best in the business in our shop at my disposal every day. But I didn't have what I needed for the Porsche, because the hardware that we used on the 240SX is probably my favorite hardware that you make now at this point. It's really low profile and really easy to use. And we didn't have any more because we used them all on the 240. I think we used over 100 on the 240.
Yeah, there's a lot on there.
The Rocket Bunny kit uses so many nuts and bolts, and the hardware that they send is absolute garbage compared to what we're getting from you. So I wanted to change all that out for the new owner. Well, when we built the Porsche, it was like, well, we can't go back now. This looks way too good. So I hit up Frank. Frank's like, bro, I'm in Hawaii right now, but I got you. I'm going to have the guys send that out. Sure enough, the next day, stuff shows up at the front door. Porsche's off the paint. So,
because I see the vision, man. I know that you need these tools to make your vision come to reality. Yep. And time doesn't stop because I'm on vacation. I know things need to get taken care of.
You're one of the only guys that thinks like that.
Yeah,
I'm the same way, and I get yelled at by my chick all the time if I'm on vacation and I'm answering phone calls and stuff. And it's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes there's certain people that when the phone rings, you just answer it because you know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, because these are the people that appreciate it. Yeah. And if it was a lot of other names, I would have been like, okay, I got you when I get back. No problem, I got you when I get back.
Yep.
But I know that you're always supporting us. Dude, every time you guys put out a video, someone will send me a clip. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And it's gotten past that relationship where it's like a business relationship.
Yep.
We get each other on a different level. Yep. And it could be how long we've been in the industry, what part of the industry we started in,
yep.
And just that understanding that we have with each other is like, look, this is my vision. You're a part of the vision. I need your help with this. And dude, it was no problem to me.
Yep.
And every time we send you something, dude, you say thank you 17 times. And I appreciate that, man, because
I have a problem with that sometimes.
You still understand it, dude. Yeah. And
I realize that those bits cost you money. So every time you send me a care package for one of the projects, it's coming out of your pocket, essentially. So it's no different than somebody buying you lunch or buying you a soda at the 7-Eleven. There has to be recognition of that gesture, in my opinion.
It's a relationship, and I don't think that people understand that these business relationships are the same as the relationship with your significant other. If it's just so much take and take and take, sooner or later you're gonna be like, you know what, I'm not fucking with you no more, dude.
Can't do it
no more. It's, say there's a big company that has a lot of exposure and can can give a lot of eyes to your company. That's good and all, but that's the same as having a smoking hot model wife or girlfriend. Sooner or later, you're going to get tired of that shit. Sooner or later, you're going to be like, yeah, you're cool and all, but I've experienced that.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to this relationship besides fucking.
Yeah.
Once that is done, if I can't take you on a trip with my family, if we can't have meaningful conversations,
why are you doing it?
Then this relationship is not going to go on anymore. And I've had so many of those relationships where it was just one-sided, and those people feel like, yo, I need this, give it to me. And in my naive days, okay, cool, I got it. This is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. But at the end of the day,
there's nothing behind it.
You're building a terrible foundation. Mm-hmm. And what I realized, and I know it's what you realized, is that Downstar is where it's at right now, but this is just a moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
We are going straight to the top. Yep. And that's because that's my goal. Throttle, you guys are going straight to the top. That's your goal. And we're going to work with each other to make those goals come true. Yep. At the end of the day, it's because we're both dudes that shouldn't be doing this. This isn't the life that we had planned out for us.
Right.
When you were younger, I'm just saying it, maybe from my end, your dream would have probably to be an employee at, say, Summit or something. Yeah. If you would have got a job stocking parts at Summit, that would have been fucking great for you, dude.
Yep.
Making whatever, $20 an hour, telling all your friends, dude, I work at Summit.
Yep.
You're Mickey from Summit, dude. Dude, I just packed your parts. Here you go. But your vision was bigger than that.
Yeah. And you always need to aspire to do something beyond your comfort zone. And for me, this Throttle project was nerve-wracking because it was outside my comfort zone. Yeah, I knew about marketing and I knew how, corporate automotive worked and all the aftermarket automotive worked and all that stuff. I learned that at my previous jobs, but I didn't know how to build a brand from scratch. Luckily, my partners are very well-rounded. Rick, the Porsche guy, I'll call him the Porsche guy because he's bought a lot of Porsches. He's a startup guy. So he's been around startup community, business community, and he knows about, investments and all that stuff. I know nothing about that. Evan's more like me. He's more of a hands-on, but he also he's an engineering brain. Like he just gets things, and he knows business. He knows cars. He's sort of the mix of me and Rick put together, which is kind of neat. So we're actually like a really cool team together because we sort of run the gamut of what we need. Our background, excuse me. We run the gamut of basically what the business needs to basically succeed. From the business side to the building the cars side, we've got that all covered, and then in between with our overlaps, which is really perfect. And in the beginning, I don't know that I saw that. I think I see it now looking back, but it's sort of like the perfect storm for our brand. And I couldn't be happier. I met Evan working at HRE, and to be honest, we didn't have that much interaction. He was an engineer. He was doing wheel fitments, and I'm over here doing Instagram marketing and whatnot for them. And we just happened to sit in the same area. And come a year later, he's knocking on my door. Hey, you're the guy. Let's do this. And here we are.
So that's how you guys met, just being in the same spot at HRE, and then just chopping it up and during breaks and stuff.
Not even. We didn't even really communicate that much, other than just the daily. Hey, how you doing? He had a couple BMWs. He's a big BMW guy now, and at that time I was getting ready to start building my E91 wagon, so I sort of was dabbling in BMW things as well. So we had some small talk here and there, but we weren't like boys by any stretch of the imagination. It was a work relationship. I never hung out with him outside of the shop. Nothing.
Gotcha.
And then it was, hey, meet me at Starbucks. I want to go over this with you and see if you want to take on this role. And the minute they told me what it was, I was like, yes, let's go. Let's do this.
Dude, that's sick, bro.
Yeah, super cool.
So since you've been in business with the guys in the last 3 years, what kind of hardships have you run into with business?
Oh, bro. Anybody that started their own thing will know. I'll be preaching to the choir here, but finances and money are such a drain on our daily outlook, on relationships, values, a lot of things. And when you start a business, not only do you put your heart, hopefully you put your heart into it, and hopefully you put your finances into it to get it going. Or if you have funding, great for you. But for us, that wasn't the case. I know Rick, Evan, and myself all invested a lot of our own money and time to get Throttle going. And I got to be honest, dude, there were days where I was like, shit, this ain't going to go. This ain't going to fly. We're almost out of money. My relationship's on the rocks because I'm here 100 hours a week. I'm never home. And I think just the fact that we had a clear vision of where we wanted to be got us through all that crap. And all of us can tell the same story. We're all going through the same shit at home and financially and all that stuff. And the fact that we could rely on each other and tell these horror stories to each other, even though we didn't know each other that long. I'd only known Evan from HRE for a little while, and his brother came into the picture at the time of Throttle. I'd met him one time. So we became close very fast, and we shared all of these hardships together through this challenge of starting this business that we believe so much in. And today, I mean, we're basically family at this point. I mean, you're here all the time at your business, I'm sure. You end up spending the majority of your time at your shop with your employees or your coworkers. They become your family. And that's basically what's happened with these guys is birthdays, weekends. Last night we were out, for beers. Like it becomes your core, and I think it's a good thing. It's healthy. I think that outside of your day-to-day business opportunities, you're also sharing your fun time.
Yeah, and
that's what we do. So we know each other about as well as we know our significant others at this point, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's awesome.
That's dope to have a friendship like that. Not only just business partners.
Well, bro, we fight all the time. I mean, there's not a day goes by where we don't argue about something, but it's a good argue. It's because we're passionate about the business. We're passionate about these car builds. Like, the guys will say, "Oh, we want to do it this way." I'm like, no. I want to do it this way because of this. And then they'll sit back and be like, either no or, you know what, you're right. Let's try that. And from the creativity standpoint, they pretty much give me free reign on these builds and stuff. And now that we're growing, we're getting a lot of new partners. So it's taken me from my hardcore JDM to opening my horizons to, this so-and-so wheel manufacturer wants to work with us on this project. It's opening up a door to use a different brand. And the guys are really open to exploring that, and we've really enjoyed the new relationships that this business has brought us as well. It's brought us closer as a team. I guess I'm sort of mumbling at this point, but I wouldn't do it any other way. Like I think the way this all worked out for Throttle has been perfect. And would I have liked it to happen quicker than 3 years? Hell yeah, because we went through all these hardships. But would it made us who we are today? No.
Dude, 3 years is a good time.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Definitely.
It was just, I can say, I don't want to say we've made it, but we're to a point now where the business is not costing us money every month. And that was what was kind of killing us. And that creates this strife between individuals. Like, money creates a lot of evil things. And when you're losing money every month, it's really hard to hold it together.
Yeah.
We did it. We got through it. We're now in the green and we're making money. So now we have to step it up.
That's dope, man. That's so good to hear, dude. Especially, like I said, 3 years, man. We've been in business for 10 years, and I feel like this year is my first year in business. I feel like I got to step it up. Every day I feel like I have to step it up. It's just...
Well, if you don't, you're going to become stagnant, and your brand won't last much longer. You see it happen all the time in business, and that people get older in a business they started, and they lose their passion. The flame goes out, and the business either gets sold or fails. And I don't want to see that happen with Throttle, and I think we're all passionate enough and still early enough that we see a big future ahead.
Definitely, man. I see it. I see it being a big part of the community for sure. So the business is going great. Relationships are going great. How do you manage to balance out your relationship with your girlfriend?
Yeah, man. So what's rad about Courtney is I met her, as I mentioned earlier, while I worked at Falcon Tire. I was actually her boss, believe it or not. I actually hired her to be a spokesmodel for Falcon. There was a point in my career at Falcon where I actually had to fire her because my boss, Nick, we dated for a year without anybody knowing. And because I was her boss, and in corporate America, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
You get in a lot of trouble for that. And Nick finally said to me, I remember the day like it was yesterday, "Hey, what's going on with you and Courtney?" It was like midnight, and we're hanging banners at a racetrack. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, "Dude, I'm your homeboy. I can tell something's up. Yeah. What's going on?" So I had to tell him. And he's like, at the end of the year, you're probably going to have to let her go. It's not cool, with human resources and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so, Courtney and I have been together since 2004.
No shit.
Yeah, we've been engaged for probably 8 years now.
Wow.
Neither of us are real huge on the whole marriage thing. So she wears a ring, and we're super happy. And I don't know that we'll ever get married, but it's neither here nor there at this point in our relationship. We love each other, and it's not going to change anything. So we just get on. And she's awesome. And the reason it works is because she's a car chick. If if anybody that's listening to this watches the Throttle channel, you've seen an S14 sitting in our shop that actually belongs to her. It was built by myself and the Garage Boso guys, with her eye and her touch, and she just gets it. She's been in the community, the car community, for a long time. She understands that when I work long hours, it's not because I'm out at the bar or at the strip club late. It's because I'm at the shop working. And would I rather be at home with her? Hell yes. But the last 3 years, I've been paying my dues and working hard, and she's rad. She gets it. She gets down on me now and again, but I think that's normal. When you believe in something and you work hard to make it successful, there's things that suffer, and most times it's relationships with significant others. And I watched the Defiant Ones. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so.
It's I believe it's on Showtime or HBO. It's about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
Okay.
And it's a 4-part series. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Especially being a business mind guy like you are, you'll appreciate it. There's a lot of brilliant things in there, but one thing I noticed across the board was the only person in that documentary, these are all wildly successful people. Every one of them's been married and divorced multiple times, except for Dr. Dre. He's been married to his chick forever. But most workaholic dudes that start a business or have a concept or idea that they want to see through to the end are not good at relationships, significant other type relationships. They're good at business relationships. But they're so focused on what they're doing that they lose sight of the fact that there's someone at home that loves them, that's waiting for them to come home every night because they want to be putting in the extra hours on the business. And that's really difficult. I've seen it in the last 3 years with Courtney and I. We've gotten through it, and it's only because she understands the end game, the vision that I have and the guys have for Throttle. So, we get through it, and she's awesome. She's awesome with it, so.
2004, bro. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations, dude.
Thanks.
That's definitely huge.
Yeah, well, when you find someone like her, you gotta, keep them happy and make sure that she's, she's gonna stick around. She knows. She gets it.
I think that's a big problem with people in our industry, and not even business owners, just automotive enthusiasts. They don't understand that there's somebody on that other end that loves them and wants nothing from them but their time.
Yep.
And I see it so many times on Facebook and stuff, and it'll say, my friends are getting married and having babies and I'm getting new wheels, and they're kind of like proud.
It's kind of a joke. Yeah.
It's a joke. They're proud of it. But from me looking at it, is just like, that is such a shallow way of looking at things. That is such a selfish way of looking at things, and of just showing your partner, somebody that loves you unconditionally, that a turbo kit matters more to you than they do.
A sustainable relationship.
Yeah. And then these people wonder why they can't have a girlfriend, a wife, a family. And in my younger days, of course, I would think the opposite. I mean, you know what? I don't have time for that. I want this. I want a supercharger. I want these parts. Which is all good stuff. But when you're home alone and your friends aren't answering the phone, and you have no one to share dinner with, share time with, you think of something funny, you have nobody to even tell that with.
Right.
Like, that's reality. Yeah. That's real life. These material objects that we have,
ain't no turbo
things,
gonna fill that void.
Never, dude. And I always say it. I say that money doesn't buy happiness, and I always get pushback on that. And
I think most people are just trying to be funny. I think most people honestly
I hope so.
That, but yeah,
I hope so.
Very
but I don't.
Yeah.
Mickey, I really don't think so, bro. I think that these people, they never got. They're mentally not at that point to think like that. These material objects won't give me the happiness that, like, the love and care of another human being would give me.
Yeah, that's scary to think about.
It is, man. And I know there's going to be a lot of younger enthusiasts listening to this right now. And I'm not telling you don't build your dreams and don't strive for the best, but just realize that life is about balance. Yeah. And as much of a balance as it is to make sure that your car's tuned so it doesn't blow up, you have to make sure you have that same balance showing to the people that actually care about you, not just a significant other, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, these people that want to have you in their life,
to have you around,
not because of your car was in a magazine, because they love you. And I see so many people that put these material things higher than people that actually care about them, and then they get upset, like, oh well, this person didn't support me. Those people don't care about you, bro. No. These people are around, and just like you said earlier, when you didn't have anything to offer, when you were trying to create something from the ground up, those people that were hating you, hey, what's up, Mickey? How's it going? When you didn't work at Falcon anymore, when you didn't have the hookup for tires anymore, these people weren't around. Yep. And that is the majority of people. Yep. And I've gone through that so many times where as of late, within the last couple years, I've had to dial it down and just focus. Who's the core? Who are these people that are going to be around when I'm not around? Yep. When Downstar isn't around, you know, Downstar is it is me, but this is not everything that I am. Right. This is a large part of who I am. Before I'm the owner of Downstar, I'm my parents' son. You know, I'm my wife's husband. I'm my son's dad, and those things are things that are gonna carry along way further than any of this stuff does, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, some big corporate entity could come in and buy this out tomorrow, and then you're just Frank again.
Just Frankie.
And then
little old Frankie.
Where do all the people that want them free bolts go?
Yeah, dude. And I've been able to decipher that a lot and see who are the real ones around.
Judge of character is a good trait to have.
Yeah, especially when you've seen so many characters that represent the opposite side. It makes it a lot easier to see a genuine person and see their intent.
Yeah, I can agree with that wholeheartedly. As I said earlier, like, I definitely have found out who my real friends are in the last couple of years. I don't mean friends. We have a lot of friends and we have a lot of industry friends, right? So it's a bit different. But it's amazing when you go out and do your own thing. The difference in interaction you have with people. I don't want to call people haters because I don't know that's necessarily hate. And I hate the whole haters love me mentality. Like I think it's really kind of cop out. But I don't know. I hope I've done a good job supporting my friends that have tried to do things on their own or are excited about something, even if it is for someone else. Like I hope that I was a good friend and supported them, whether it be, you know, carry their brand on a t-shirt that I wear, or you know, when I hear somebody ask about something, I say, hey, you should give this a try, you know, because I'm a friend of theirs and I think of them. I want them to be successful, and I hope that I did a good enough job so that I get that in return. And that's, I guess, all you can really do.
Yeah, it's crazy that all you would really want is just somebody to believe in you.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. Yeah. I like feel so weird about getting help and anything physical, money, or anything from anybody that, like, I don't want any of that, dude. All I want is when this podcast comes out, just listen to it, dude. Just post it up. That's all. That's all I really want, dude.
Yep.
You know, and that's not so much to ask, because I would do the same for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, a lot of people, myself included, I don't like to self-promote. And I think that a lot of that, what we were talking about earlier, where I didn't want to be on camera and I didn't want to really talk about things I've done or anything like that. I don't want to self-promote. That's not who I am. Doing Throttle and it being of my heart, something that I feel strongly about, it's imperative that I talk about Throttle and that I ask people to go watch our videos. That's very difficult for me. On a daily basis, almost, we post a video, and if you follow me on Instagram, you see me saying, hey, go check out what we did to the 240 today. I can't tell you how hard that is for me to do every day. I go to hit send, and I'm like, this is so cringy. I don't want to do this. If you don't believe in yourself enough to do that, that's a problem. And for me, it's something I have to dig deep down and actually make myself do, because I don't like putting myself out there to people. And I know the people that follow me on Instagram are generally my friends and people that follow the channel. They expect to see that stuff, but that's not my style. Like, I don't like doing it, but I do it because I believe so much in the brand, and that I want my friends and the people that follow our brand to have the visibility of what we're doing. So it's a very fine line of, okay, am I self-promoting too much, or is this me marketing my brand?
Definitely, man. And the other day I was promoting the Downtime with Downstar, the podcast, and telling people to go to iTunes and do a review. And my wife, Ashley, she's very blunt, dude. And that's one thing that I love, is she tells me when, like, she thinks a certain thing that's not a good look or whatever. And she's like, you know, that's funny that you're doing that, because, like, you always say that it's annoying when people do that. And I'm like, you know what? I totally agree with you. But the reality of it is that I want this podcast to succeed.
Yep.
And I have to do these things that are out of my character to make it succeed.
Exactly.
Because nobody else is going to do it.
So if you do this podcast, you don't talk about it, you just sweep it under the rug, you did it, you published it, but you don't tell anybody, nobody knows to go watch it. What 5% of your, theoretically 5% of the audience that could potentially watch your podcast might find it.
At the best.
Yeah, at the best. So if you're not saying, hey, I did this podcast with so-and-so, go check it out, the opportunity for more people to see it is there. And that's what I have a hard time with personally. Like, I don't want to be the guy that does that. But in order for the brand to succeed, you and I both need to be doing that. And, it's going to irritate some people. And I think, at my age now, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
We just have to get over it. And this is the world we live in today of, trying to build a successful brand. And it's either me saying, hey, go check out this video, or it's me buying a magazine ad. It's no different.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just doing it myself with my own face and talking versus creating an ad that's I'm gonna pay $5,000 for in a magazine.
Yeah.
That's gonna be irrelevant anyway. So we might as well be promoting something we believe in, and the people that love us or want to support us should appreciate that, I think.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And it would, the podcast, Throttle, everything would have grown a lot faster, and still to this day will grow a lot faster if we received that support from these people that we would appreciate it from.
Yep.
There's a certain amount of people that have that kind of connection with their followers, that it would just take something as small as, hey, I just listened to this podcast, you guys should check it out. Not even being like a corny thing.
You don't even have to say it was the best podcast you ever heard.
Like a genuine response or something like that. But
I listened to it. This is my homie. Go check it out.
That's it, dude. But sometimes that's a little too much for people to do, and understandable. Like, you have your own thing going on. That's cool, man. Yeah. But when it comes down to the point where our paths have to cross again, I'm taking all of that into consideration. And when in the future, when there's a bigger opportunity that maybe me and you can work on, I take all of this into consideration.
Yeah, for sure, you have to.
Because it's like I said, man, you don't have to be doing this. You don't have to come down here, and you don't have to talk with me for this time and have this experience with me.
Yep.
And I appreciate that so much on more than just a business level.
Yep.
I think it was Joey Lee that said it. He said that I said the same thing. I appreciate you coming down. He says, I see you doing your thing, and I see you hustling, and this is me trying to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's not that many people that are genuinely doing something besides for financial reasons.
And I totally expect that from Joey.
Yeah, Joey's a great dude, man, and I'm super excited to see what comes out of him, dude. He's a different breed, bro. Mm-hmm. Joey is the kind of guy that people are looking at, but Joey is not saying, "Hey, look at me."
Yeah, for sure.
I guarantee Joey can go away from Instagram, and then the day that he would come back, his thing would explode because he has that kind of personality. He's always been that person from the beginning that was genuine.
Yep.
This is me.
I can agree with that.
This is my opinion. This is what I'm doing. If you guys appreciate it, thank you. If you don't, that's cool because this is my thing. This is what I'm doing. And a lot of people don't have those balls to do that.
He's been doing his thing and believes in what he's doing for a long, long time.
Yeah, dude. And shout out to Joey, man. That's dope. For sure. And just to even have somebody like that to come down, and somebody that I've looked up to ever since I got into the industry, and now we've built a relationship together.
Yep.
And for him to believe in what I'm doing, to be part of it, like that, it just makes me feel good. Like this has the possibility of being what I see in my head.
Yeah.
What I see it being.
Yeah, it's always good to have guys like him, supporting and reciprocating the love that you've given him.
Yeah. So working with guys, how did you and TJ Hunt manage to gain a relationship or even cross paths?
So this is actually a really funny story, and I actually didn't like TJ, believe it or not. When we first started Throttle, we were about a year in, and being in San Diego, my partner Evan was like, "Hey, there's this YouTuber down here in San Diego called TJ Hunt. I've got a phone call set up with him for Wednesday night at 6:30, whatever. Can you be on the call? We're going to do a Skype." I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So, I set up my laptop. We get on the phone call with this kid, and he's, at the time, I think he's 22, 21. And I think at the time he had about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, about the size Throttle is at the moment, which back then was very large.
Huge.
This is 2.5 years ago. We get on the call, and we're telling him what Throttle is. He was vaguely aware of us. Telling him what we are, what we're doing, what our goals are, and that we want his support to help us market our brand. And by by support, I mean we were going to pay him to shout out Throttle on one of his videos, as he does for all third-party marketing plugs that he does in his videos. And he says, "Yeah, well, it's going to be about 10 grand. That's what I charge for a shout out in a video. And that's it." So it was very smug and sort of cocky. And at that time, I didn't understand the YouTube space, being frank. I'm obviously a little older. I didn't come up watching YouTube. And at that time, I wasn't watching YouTube at all. Like, I could have cared less. Still had cable. I was watching my hockey games, and I was a happy man. Fast forward 6 months from that call, we get a call back from him. Of course, we didn't have 10 grand. We could have given him 10 grand, but it would have been all of our money, and we'd have been done if it didn't work. So 6 months goes by. Oh, he said, I understand if you guys can't afford it, but that's the price. And let's circle back in a year when you guys have grown a little bit and see where we're at. And so we were like, okay, that's fine, whatever. We got off the phone, and I think I motherfucked him pretty good. But after the call, and it was me being passionate about what we were trying to do, and him basically just slapping us in the face. And I sometimes wear my heart on my sleeve, most of the time, actually. So I was upset, and I was like, screw this guy. We don't need him, blah, blah, blah. We'll do this ourselves. Well, 6 months goes by and we get a call from TJ, which was out of the blue, random deal. He calls Evan and says, man, I can't go anywhere without hearing about you guys. You guys have really shaken things up down here. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And of course, me being hard-headed, I'm like, hey, fuck that guy. So Evan's like, well, we're set up another call with him. Can you be on the call? Yeah, all right, sure. So I'm on the call, and TJ's tone changed a lot in that 6 months. And I think he sat back and realized that what we were doing was a positive thing for automotive and for our area in San Diego. And he decided that he wanted to help us. And he did a shout out for us at no charge. And it really helped us kick off Throttle. So looking back, without TJ, would we be successful? Yes. Have we been more successful with his early help? Yes, we have. So we owe something to TJ. He stuck his neck out for us after getting off on the wrong foot. And, TJ and I now, we talk every day. We're friends. We're buddies. Do we hang out a lot? Not really. It's mostly a business relationship. I help him a lot with, I'm kind of sort of a consultant to him at this point where, he doesn't have a lot of industry connections. So that's sort of my background, and I've met a lot of people in the last 15 years. So, he vets a lot of opportunities through me, and I bring him some opportunities as well. So we have a great working relationship. It helps that we both play ice hockey as well.
Oh, nice.
So he's actually been on the ice with me a bunch.
Sweet.
And, we have a lot in common. We're very much alike in a lot of ways, and it's sort of scary, down to the food preferences and things that we have. So TJ and I are very similar individuals, and, he's definitely a guy that is very business savvy beyond his years. At 24 years old,
definitely.
This guy is he gets it, and he understands his space very well, and he's helped Throttle understand our space now and where we're going and the future of what we want to do. TJ is now an investor in Throttle, so he's actually joined the team. He is one of our advisors on our advisor board, and is a big part of our day-to-day operations now. So it's neat seeing it actually come full circle from where I was like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
To now working with him every day, helping shape our brand and where we're going. So it's cool. It's neat. It's definitely a great relationship, and I love working with him every day.
That's dope, dude. Have you heard how we ended up meeting?
No.
It's crazy, bro. So same thing, dude. I my idea towards YouTube was kind of like what the kids are doing. Yeah. It really didn't have nothing to do with me.
Right.
I'm doing Downstar and whatever. They're doing their thing because all the people that I seen on YouTube were just the younger generation. I was on my old guy shit, right? Lesson number 1, old dudes, get out of that shit.
Yeah.
Times change, and you have to change with the time.
And that doesn't mean try to be young and be somebody you're not. Be you, but just be cognizant of what's going on with the younger generation, because without the YouTube space, which I had totally turned my nose up to, Throttle would not be where it is today.
100%, dude. And then I started getting a little more into YouTube, understanding what it was and appreciating what those guys were bringing to the table. Right. So I'm always fluid in my thoughts and my ideas of things, because I understand times change and the game is different. Right. No matter what you're into, everything is always going to change and evolve. Even coming from my background in Best Buy, I seen Best Buy, and the reason that Best Buy is still around to this day, and Circuit City, Good Guys, all those are out of business, is because they changed their business model fluidly on the fly. Whatever comes up, okay, Amazon's up, all right, we got to figure something out now. So I've always been like that. So then I get a DM one day, and someone's like, hey, Frank, congratulations for being on TJ Hunt's video. And I'm just, and not like a dick, but I'm just like, oh, who's that?
Yeah.
And he shoots me the link. So I check it out, and the YouTube video, we have it embedded in our website now. It's TJ holding up like a bolt in the air. I'm like, what the hell? So I click it and watch the video, and he did a whole install video of the fender flare hardware on
I was
the VRZ.
actually there during that.
No way.
But I was off camera.
Yeah.
Of course.
So turns out that Eric Anderson is the one that told TJ, hey, you should check out Downstar for the hardware. And I'm like forever grateful to him for that.
Yeah.
So I watched the video, then I see his subs, and it was like 600K at that time. Mm-hmm. And I had already known that 600K is not something to laugh about.
Mm-mm.
You know, anything over 100 is these people are taking it seriously.
Yep.
And I know that shout out is not something that comes for free.
Right.
Like you said,
yep.
$10,000 or whatever it is, right? So I watched this video, watched the install, see some of the comments. I get a couple more messages. I'm like, damn, that's fucking crazy. This dude didn't have to do this.
Yeah, he did it because he wanted to.
So I looked up on our database, looked up the order, found his number. I said, fuck it.
He told me this story.
Gave him a call.
Yep.
I said, fuck it. Gave him a call. Hey, man, speak to TJ. Please. Oh, hey, TJ, what's up, man? This is Frank from Downstar the Hardware. You know what, man? I really appreciate you doing that video for us. You didn't have to do that, man. Anything you need from here on now, just hit me up. This is my personal line. All right, cool, man. Whatever. Sure enough, he hit me up, took care of him, and ever since then, we've been working together.
Flowing, yeah.
And that's, like I said, one of those times where you get that little alley-oop, and I could have been a dick about it. I could have been like, I don't know who that kid is. This YouTube shit. I don't know what that is, you know. But me being savvy, me being understanding the community as a whole, not just the elite guys, not just the OGs. I'm keeping an eye on these young dudes that are growing up. These guys with just 1,000 subs. I'm keeping an eye on everybody, what's going on, and for me to reach out. I have zero doubt in my mind that the reason that the fender flare hardware has blown up as it has is because of the outlet that he's given us. And I always say this, 50% is the product and the other 50% is how you market it.
Yep.
And we had the product is great, and it hasn't changed since the time that we've released it. But the sales of that product have just skyrocketed, and that's just because more eyes have been aware of the product that we offer.
Yep.
And that's just another lesson to people, guys. It's like your pride and your ego can get you or hold you from getting to the next level, or at least making the relationships.
Yeah, I've a couple of my past work experiences, I've been in marketing teams that had, no offense to the guys, just older dudes. And they are stuck in their ways, and they didn't want to hear anything other than what they knew, and because what they knew worked. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? It worked 10 years ago. Doesn't work today.
Yep.
And you see it more often than not, but a lot of times, especially in corporate America, these guys are tenured and they're not going anywhere, and their hard-headedness is going to end up not helping the company, even though they've got a big fat paycheck and they're cushy job. They're still doing the same thing they were doing 10 years ago, and it doesn't benefit the company whatsoever, but the company doesn't get it either. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's those opportunities, you got to take them, no matter how scary they are, no matter how uncomfortable. Like just calling some random dude and just hoping he's like...
I remember that day. Actually,
really?
Because I remember him saying, oh, Frank from Downstar just called me and said that, whenever we needed something, just hit him up, and he would make sure that it got shipped out quickly, and look after us pretty well. And I was like, oh, cool. And it's been a slippery slope since then. We've just been jamming.
Yeah. And it's like I said, every once in a while, from his channel, from your channel, just from people around, they'll always mention it back to us.
Eyes everywhere.
Yeah, dude. And it just makes me feel good, because it's not a contract. It's not a $10,000 per mention.
Right.
It's I see the vision that you guys are trying to do. Let me know. I just want to be part of it if I can help out in any sort of way. And I feel like those are the best relationships to have, man. And if
they are,
and in the future, if they turn into friendships or whatever, so be it. But at least you have some if you're on the same page in some way, you know, and,
for sure,
and it's really dope, man. So I know that there's going to be a lot of younger guys that look up to what you guys do with the YouTube space, and they want to know how they can position themselves to be there. So would you have any sort of advice or tips that maybe they could work off of?
Yeah, man. This is actually the most asked question I get at car shows when I go. A lot of aspiring YouTubers out there, and a lot of them are very young. I mean, there's, you know, I have 6, 7, 8-year-old kids
really
want to be YouTubers.
Oh, wow.
The last weekend at Stanford, Seattle, there was a little guy named Phoenix.
Shout out to Phoenix.
Yeah, came up to me, and he was I think he was 7 or 8 years old, and he had 3,000 followers on not Twitch, another social media thing that I'm not involved with at all that I need to look into, because this kid at that age has 3,000 followers already. So at any rate, so to answer your question, the hardest part is the consistency. And I think you have a YouTube channel, and you can see that mixed with your daily business life and running a business, having a family, filming your day-to-day operation or day-to-day activity, sitting down, editing it, making it something that's watchable for the general public and relevant, and then posting it is the hardest part. A lot of people don't have editing skills. A lot of people don't have, you know, they think they need to have a fancy camera, which you do not. There's a very well-known YouTube channel out there, I'm not going to mention any names, that has over 1 million subs, and they use iPhones.
No shit.
Yep.
Wow.
And they're very successful. The key part to all this isn't the components, it's the time. And the most common misconception is that it's easy, because what you see on YouTube is the end result of someone planning a YouTube video, filming it all, acquiring the parts needed to do whatever it is you're doing in the video, if it's an automotive related video or whatever, downloading all that footage, editing it into something that's digestible by your viewing people, and then launching it. So there's a lot that goes into it that you don't see. You just see this end result video that's up on YouTube, but you don't realize that there was hours put into that. So the hardest part is being consistent. So if you aspire to be a YouTuber, I would say focus on your consistency. And I think you and I have had this discussion many times. The more consistent you are, the more people get used to seeing your name pop up as a, when your videos come up on their screen, and they're more anticipate it coming up and going to watch it. So consistency is king in the YouTube world. If you can be consistent, you will be successful. It's a full-time job. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much time goes into it. It will be your full-time job. So you have to know that going in.
Now, who does your guys' editing?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate in that we found a young automotive enthusiast out of school who has schooling in editing, who has fit into our team absolutely flawlessly. Like, he's the perfect guy. And we got lucky in that aspect. But his name is Victor, and he's in some of our videos now, but he has no desire to be in the videos. He just wants to edit and be a part of our vision, which is awesome.
Shout out to Victor, man. That's dope. Bro.
He's the real deal. And he's one of the main reasons why our channel has succeeded in the last 6 months. So he's there every day. And myself, Ricky, Evan, Rick, we all film all day long what we're doing, and planning and all that. And we hand it off to Victor. Victor is so good that he understands our vision and what we're trying to accomplish, because he's done it a bunch, that he's able to take that footage and create something that's desirable to watch. Mm-hmm. And that's the key thing, is making content that people want to click on. They want to go watch it because it's exciting to them, or it's something up their alley that they're into. For us, it's automotive. So Yeah, he's the man. And so we've been able to take from Evan doing our editing, which, like I said, is a full-time job.
Definitely.
So besides the business, he was also doing our video editing, which is too much.
Yeah.
It was getting us off track and we couldn't focus. So bringing in Victor on a part-time basis, which is what he was up until about a week ago, we just fully hired him a week ago. So he's actually on payroll now, and that's his job every day, is to come in, grab the video content from yesterday's video work, and make a video out of it and post it the next day. Of course, we approve everything and we watch him and do all that with him. But without him, we would still be stuck in a rut trying to juggle too many things. And
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So if there's another Victor out there, dude, please hit me up.
There's a lot of young guys out there, YouTube being such a viable outlet nowadays, that there's a lot of guys coming out of, trained schooling that are able to do it, and entry level guys that just want to get involved, and they don't need $1 million to get them on board. Mm-hmm. And that's one lesson that I learned coming up in automotive, was my hunger to be involved in aftermarket automotive in the space that we're in is what got me those first couple jobs, because I didn't give a shit if I was sweeping the floor, cutting up old tires to throw them away. Like, I didn't care what it was, just let me do the job.
Yeah.
And it was my hunger that got me to where I am today. And if you guys are a video editor and you're hungry, you're going to take a job working for Frank or working for whatever upstart company, or whatever opportunity comes along, just take it.
Yeah.
And make it your role. Just kill it. And that's what you have to do, and that opens up other opportunities.
Yeah, like I was telling you before off air, that I definitely want to get back on YouTube, and not just vlogging. I would love to get back to vlogging, but I want to do tutorials on how the product is installed, what it looks like before and after, so people get the whole image before they even press add to cart.
There's definitely a market for that.
Definitely, man. I want to put the podcast, I want to put that on YouTube. And I'm definitely looking for somebody like that you explained, Victor, and somebody who understands the vision and understands what we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And
this ain't a get rich quick scheme.
Definitely.
You gotta come in here, work hard, do your thing, and opportunities come about.
Yeah, and we definitely have the opportunities. We do so much cool stuff all the time, going to shows, doing this, and that will be part of your job.
Yeah.
But if you come in here expecting to make certain amount of money, or coming with demands before you even prove yourself, that's what really turns me off a lot.
That's the wrong approach.
Yeah, definitely.
I hate to be the old guy, but I see it a lot more today than I ever have.
100%, dude.
It's just expecting things to be handed over, and nothing worth having is you have to work for it.
Yeah. You know what I always say, dude, is there's these people that they have a job and they get paid X amount of money, and the first thing that they say is, my job's chill, I really don't do much, I get paid this much to do nothing. And what I always tell them is, like, you realize that's all that the company values you at, as somebody to just watch this camera, or to just walk around, or whatever your job would be.
Right, that's your value. That's your worth.
Having a job that somebody having a job that is as important as, it's just chill, I just do this, do that. That's kind of a disrespectful thing to say about yourself. Is that your worth is only this much, where you're doing the job that a robot will be doing, in the future.
Pretty much.
And I think that people should definitely value themselves more than that, because the time that you're spending at this job, granted, if you're making $20 an hour, that's cool, but you could be making way more than that if you actually tried.
Yep.
And I see that happen a lot too, man. And but I just do know that there's those diamonds in the rough that are probably listening right now and just want to be part of something.
Don't be afraid to grab the broom, boys.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Definitely. So going back to Throttle, how did Ricky become a part of the team?
That's actually a pretty cool story. So after I moved down to San Diego, and I was working at HRE, I was, working in an office at an automotive company is cool. But I was seeking more automotive in my life. So I would go to Cars and Coffee on, Sunday mornings and try to be involved in the community of car stuff going on in the San Diego area, which there wasn't much or isn't much, honestly. I met him at a Cars and Coffee because he had a Datsun 510 with a rotary engine in it. And at that time I had an A86 Corolla with a S2000 motor in it. And, we loved each other's cars. Like, I think if we could have traded cars, we would have. But yeah, I met him in front of a Starbucks just because I heard him pull in and I heard the brap, 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 brap. And if you know anything about me, I love rotary engines. So I walked over, and in typical Ricky Styles fashion, the car was pretty hammered and attention to detail isn't really there. But mechanically, the car was spot on and sounded amazing and just had all the right bits.
Yeah.
That's one type of car build that I'm not able to pull off. That's the sort of patina. I hope Ricky doesn't think this wrong. Like, kind of I don't give a fuck sort of attitude towards, as long as it works. That's fine with me, and that's Ricky's style, and that's why I came up with the hashtag Ricky Styles, because he has a way of doing things that, even though it's not necessarily my idea of right or cool or how I would do it, it works for him, and he pulls it off so well. Like, I look back at all his cars and I'm like, no way could I ever build that car. Not in a million years. I build this car. And this man drives down every day. Well, okay, so let's back up. I met him at Cars and Coffee because we were geeking out over each other's cars. That was like 8 years ago. Couldn't have been that long ago. Yeah, it was. Wow.
Time flies.
Shit. So anyway, fast forward till now, present day, a year ago, I bought the RX-7. And that was my first rotary project, which I've always wanted one. Wanted one for 15 years, never had one. I've worked on race teams that raced rotaries. I've been around rotaries, just never owned my own. This was my chance. When we started Throttle, YouTube channel was starting to get bigger. We needed a new project. I was like, you know what? Now's the time. Took whatever money I had, bought an RX-7 off the ex-editor of Super Street Magazine. It was a project he had laying around that he sort of didn't have time for. So he sold it to me. And my friend Nick from Falcon is the one that found the car for me, actually. Went and bought it with TJ, brought it back. And in the first video, I ripped off an exhaust system that was hanging on the car, but it was dragging on the ground because they couldn't put it up because it had a body kit and it was a twin Apex exhaust. It didn't fit in the hole. So they just left it dragging on the ground. So I looked at it. It was all hacked up and kind of shitty. And so I was like, I just took it off and threw it in the dumpster. Well, later that night, I got a text from Ricky. Hey, this is Ricky from Cars and Coffee. We never kept in touch. And he's like, I would love to have that exhaust for my wife's car. Could I have it or could I buy it? He would never say, could I have it?
Yeah.
He's like, could I buy it from you? And I was like, bro, I just threw it in the dumpster today. It's probably still in the dumpster if you want to go to the shop and grab it. He's like, I live up in Menifee, which is an hour at best away. And I was like, yeah, man, it's there. If you want to go check and see, you can go grab it or whatever. He's like, okay, cool. And I get a text later on that night. Hey, bro, went to the shop. The exhaust was gone. So he didn't get it. So that like sort of spawned our conversation back and forth via DM. Like, what are you doing with the RX-7 now? Blah, blah, blah. We're talking. And he's just a really like salt of the earth guy. Like, one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my life. And I didn't pick up on it right away. When I first met him, we hit it off. But like now it's day to day, every day we talk and our families hang out, and it's much more than just a car guy friendship. So yeah, that's how Ricky sort of got input into Throttle, is that because of his background in rotaries and our friendship, I started bringing him in to help with the RX-7 because he wanted to. He was just donating his time. coming to help me strip the car down and get it ready for paint and all that. And dude, we pulled ridiculous hours. That car got built from an absolute pile of shit that was ready to go to the junkyard to what it is today. We built it in like 3 months, top to bottom. And without his help, it couldn't have been done. There's no way. So after the car was built, he hung around helping me with some of the other projects. And then finally, we made him an offer to bring him on the team, like not full time, but 4 hours a day or whatever he has available, because he has a full-time job as well. Mm-hmm. So Throttle is not even his bread and butter. That's just something he does for fun, and we pay him to be there. But without him, dude, the shop wouldn't be the same. YouTube wouldn't be the same. Like, he's basically embedded himself in our brand, and he's one of us now. So he's not a founding member of Throttle, but he is as important to the team as anybody there.
Yeah, his presence and his personality is very genuine, man. That time that I went to the shop,
that's him, dude. You're not seeing a facade.
Yeah, that's one you can definitely tell that for sure.
Yeah.
When I went to the shop and I was checking out the car, and that's when he was doing his wife's car. Yep. And we just did a bunch of random color of hardware around. He was super appreciative, very nice guy, and somebody down to earth that
he's awesome.
Was able just to talk to him and have a good conversation that didn't have to do with parts or cars or cloud or anything like that. It was just a normal guy.
Yep.
And I don't know if that comes more with older age.
Yeah, he's in between your age and my age.
Yeah, so I think that
been around, and I think the guys that have been in the scene for a long time have sort of this calmness about them, and they don't get too wound up about things. Just sort of get it, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it, but he's definitely one of those guys.
Yeah,
he's very genuine, and man, he's like a brother to me at this point. We're together every day and building cool shit, and we'd have it no other way.
That's awesome, bro. Dude, congratulations for everything, Mickey. For real, dude.
Thanks, man.
Just to be able to have this as your full-time job and to be able to love it, that's so much as it is right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not comforting hitting the reset button on your career that you've worked so hard to build at 40 years old. There were nights where I didn't sleep because I was like, what am I doing? I'm investing everything I've ever worked for into this brand that's nothing at the moment. And, monetary time, as you say, is money as well. And it is tough at 40 years old to do that. Would I do it again? Yeah, because I think I have the knowledge to do it now. But yeah, it was tough. So I appreciate you seeing that.
No, definitely, man. I'm glad that you were able to make it here today and have this combo, dude. Because
it's a big drive, dude.
I don't think that there would be any other chance that we would have this convo, because it would seem kind of weird if the mics weren't around.
Yeah, no, that's true. We get all the time, in the comment section of our videos, Mickey, do a sit down and tell about your story, because a lot of people, like, they hear TJ made a big joke about how many places I've worked, and it really hasn't been that many if you think about it.
Yeah,
at my age,
4 or 5
I've worked at 4 or 5 places, not that many, but the ongoing joke is like, Mickey's worked at NASA, Mickey's worked here, Mickey's worked there, and it's not that I've worked a lot of places, it's that I've worked with a lot of people. And one thing we didn't even touch on was my presence in the Formula D paddock and being involved with Formula Drift since 2003, and working with Mad Mike as a wrench on his 4-rotor car for 2 years in the paddock. And a lot of that goes back to my time at Falcon, but it goes beyond that. And working with people is sometimes even more important than working for a certain company. So my breadth of people that I know in the industry is very large because of the Formula Drift paddock community and the people that you meet out there, which are all very hands-on car building type of people. Most of the things I know I've learned from those guys that were building the Falcon drift cars or wrenching for so-and-so, Chris Forsberg, this is 350Z team or whatever back in the day. And those are all people that I owe a debt of gratitude to for, if I didn't know something, I was learning this whole time. And a lot of people ask me, how did you learn so much about cars? Well, first of all, I don't know everything about cars. There's a lot I still need to learn. And the things I did learn just happened to be because I was smart and opened my ears and shut my mouth and just watched what people were doing and learned from them because they'd done it before. They fucked it up before and fixed it. And they could give me those shortcuts. And I was just in the right places at the right time and paying attention. And it's really important to do that.
And it has a lot to do with you as well as a person. There's not a lot of people that would give that advice or time or let them be around the behind the scenes of things if they didn't have the personality that you do. And to be able to look back and show gratitude to these guys that did stuff for you that helped you get to this point, that's another rare thing to see as well. And that's a really attractive quality to have, and not just a business or business partner or whatever, but just in an actual another human being, someone to understand that they're not the best and they're still learning and they're on their journey. And you see a lot of guys nowadays that they feel superior to everybody, that they know everything. And when I see somebody like that, I see somebody that they've plateaued. You're done where you're at right here because you've stopped learning.
Yeah, there's a tendency to get stuck in your ways. I think we're all, susceptible to that. It's how you shake that off and continue to learn and grow. And it goes back to the whole YouTube thing. Like, I shut that off, right? Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Why? And that was a huge lesson in my life. Was like, don't shut off the youth. Don't shut off technology that you don't understand. Figure it out. You're smart. Figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is gonna figure it out if you don't. So, I guess the biggest lesson to take away from all this is, something that was said to me a long time is, you have 2 ears and one mouth. Use them accordingly. And I sort of live my life by that now. It took me a long time to sort of see the light about that saying.
Yeah. But
it's true. If you listen to what people say, if they're the right people, it's usually really good information or advice. So surrounding yourself with good people and listening is very important.
Dope, man. Those are definitely good advice to give. And I always tell people, a smart man learns from their mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And I have no problem telling the mistakes that I've learned, because it's got me to this point, and to today, right now where I'm at, I wouldn't change it for anything.
If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough.
Definitely, man. And before I make this mistake by closing out the podcast, we have to talk about that EG, bro.
Are people going to be 2 hours in? I don't know.
Hell yeah, dude. Bro, I've done podcasts that are 3 hours in.
Oh, my God.
People are asking for more, dude. So you got the time. We got the audience.
I got the time.
Hell yeah, dude.
So my EG, I guess we touched on it a little bit earlier. It's for all intents and purposes, it's a 1992 EG6 SIRS, which was a Japan-only model, as you know. SIRS model, from my understanding, was limited to 3,000 cars, only distributed in Japan. What made it special was basically just add-on bits from the factory, from Honda optional parts. It was a leather steering wheel, leather wrap, shift knob, and boot. That was one piece. The door stickers that everybody overuses nowadays, the ones that say dual overhead cam VTEC, real
it's
big.
Like
it's at the front of the door.
Yeah.
Those are SIRS only decals. And all the ones you see on cars today are misused.
And I took them off.
Yeah, I've bought 3 sets of those.
No
decals.
Shit. Dude, I would put them back on this day if I had
So
them,
only cars that came with those were SIRS model. And there's a couple other bits. The first Honda keyless remote was on the SIRS model. That was 1992.
If I'm not mistaken, the side moldings
were silver.
They're silver.
Like a charcoal gray, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have one still from my original car, because I painted all mine white at this point. But which, looking back, kind of kicking myself. Oh, and there was also an optional color on the SIRS. It was called Louisiana green. was
wow.
only available on the SRS. I have I bought the brochure from the dealer at home. I have it. I should have brought it with me. I save all that weird stuff, but
that shit's dope.
I actually had it all translated by my friend at HRE who's Japanese. He translated the whole brochure from that. That's how I found out they only made 3,000 of them. Nobody else knew the production number.
Dude, I still have, I'm pretty sure one of the side moldings from a fender, I still have it because I wanted to make sure that I kept that color.
I have the same thing.
And when I first got my car, I painted the engine bay that same exact color.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's the color that it was.
And black was an original color.
Yeah.
It was black, red, and Louisiana gray. They never came with sunroofs because it was considered the premier sports model.
Yeah.
Higher than an SIR, higher than SIR2. SIRS was like the premium sports package you could get.
And that's with the Momo steering wheel that's like wrapped all the way around.
If you go on Speed Hunters, if you Google the man who restored a Honda, there will be an article about my car that'll pop up on Speed Hunters, and it goes through all that in the article. Shows you all the parts. I've collected every part from the SIRS except for the single piece leather shift knob and boot. I cannot find one anywhere in the world.
Yeah, mine did.
I've been looking for 10 years.
Mine had a Razzo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a Razzo shift knob.
Funny story about my car and how I obtained it was while I was working at Falcon. We had a partner in a JDM import company that was helping us get parts for the drift cars, and he became a friend of mine. And I went to his shop to drop something off one day, and he was importing JDM parts to resell. Well, he imported a whole car, an EG, and he stripped it down, sold all the bits. You know, all the guys wanted all the special EG6 parts from Japan. So he would sell all that stuff. So he just had a shell sitting there that he couldn't sell because he sold the motor, the drivetrain, the glass, everything. And I look over, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I see this car sitting in the corner of his lot, and it's all covered and shit. And what's going on with that shell over there? He goes, it's worthless. I'm sending it off to the scrap heap.
No shit.
Yeah. And I said, really? Can I look at it? He goes, yeah, go ahead, have a look. And I'm broke, dude. Yeah. It's broke shit. I just started at Falcon. So I go over and I look at it, and it's got a big dent in the rear hatch trunk is all dented in. And I noticed the moldings and the SIRS badging on it. And I vaguely knew that it was like a special model, but I didn't know why. Like at that time, I never did any research. But I loved those cars. I wanted an EG since they were new. And I couldn't afford it when they were new because they were at the dealer at that time. And so a couple of days goes by. I hit him up. I'm like, hey, did you get rid of that EG? He's like, no, I still got it here. I was like, can I buy it? And he's like, well, you can't register it or anything. It's, it was brought in for parts. I was like, okay, that's not a big deal. I'm going to build a race car out of it anyway. And he goes, yeah, I need a set of tires. I just bought a SUV. I need some 22s. Can you swap me some tires for it? I was like, sure thing. So I bought the tires, delivered them to him with the trailer, grabbed the car, and took it home with me. Well, it sat under a car cover in my carport for 8 years untouched. I didn't have any money to do anything with it. And I was working too much. At Falcon, I was traveling majority of the weekends out of the year. We were on the road and stuff, doing events and things. So finally, when I got around to working on the car, I put it together. I painted it some blue color, and I didn't really follow the rules of the road, so to speak, with the SIRS mentality, like keeping it original and all that. And I got it done, and I looked back at it, and I'm like, man, because I didn't have the budget that I wanted to spend on the car, I kind of cut some corners. So I'm going to go back and redo this thing. So I stripped it all back down to bare metal again. Took it to the premier body shop in San Diego. I spent about $18,000 restoring the car.
Painting and everything.
It was on a rotisserie, fully.
Wow.
Everything resprayed. And I picked a white color, which, as I said earlier, that was never available in white. But all my cars that I built are typically white. I love white cars. And so I put white on it. I painted all the moldings. I painted the drip rails and all that stuff. And looking back, would I have done it differently? Maybe. I think I might have kept it one of the original 3 colors just for history's sake. But at the end of the day, it's my car, and I wanted it to be somewhat custom. So to me, it doesn't hurt the value of the car. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an EG. Is it really valuable?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's valuable to me. And that's my outlook. So when I built it, I put all Mugen parts. I love Mugen stuff because it's very OE. Fitment is very good. It's not overly loud and obnoxious when you speak of the exhaust and headers and stuff like that. So for me, it was like the perfect add-on bits to make the car different, but still very valuable to me and cool looking. It's the Mugen stuff. So basically threw everything Mugen at it. Stock engine. I wanted to keep the stock engine harness and stuff looking very similar. So when you open the hood, it almost looked like a catalog car.
Yeah.
That was the idea. And it was funny because I got the car done and I was very anti-forum and stuff at that time. I wasn't looking at anybody else's builds when I built it. I just holed myself up in the garage and put this thing together. And actually about that time is when I found your car because I was searching for parts for an SIRS. I punched in SIRS into Google and a story about your car came up. And that's how I first found out about you, your brand, and your car.
Really?
Yeah, because of the SIRS.
What year was this?
It had to have been somewhere around 2000. If I were to guess, I'd say 2012 or 13.
Okay, gotcha.
Your car had already been done.
Yeah, it could have been the S3 feature
maybe
that was on it.
It was something online because I remember being like, oh shit, this guy's in Cali too, cool, I can't wait to meet him and talk SIRS because I was the only one I knew that had one in the States.
Yeah.
And I was searching for information. I wanted to know more about these cars. I knew there was a lot more stuff to know and I didn't know it all. So at any rate, yeah, I just continued on with the build and it is the way it sits now. And the reason I have those oddball wheels on it, the full face wheel, is because while I was working at HRE, we were doing a vintage line. That was part of the line that Patrick and I, the other marketing guy, wanted to develop, was a vintage line. Utilizing the heritage of Hayashi Racing as a, what do you call it? As a sort of a catalyst to the line. So going back and looking at the heritage of that brand and bringing those styles up to speed with modern fitment and styling. Mm-hmm. So in searching around, I found this full face Hayashi Racing center lock wheel. And I'm like, what is this? This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's from 1984 and it was created for the Toyota Corolla when it first came out, the rear wheel drive Corolla that I actually had one of. Mm-hmm. And so I found these wheels brand new in the box, new old stock from 1984. Mind you, this is 2012. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm buying these wheels so I can bring them to HRE, show them to them. We can design the 20-inch versions or 18 to 20s that are going to go on Porsches and stuff like that. So I bought it as a model for them to use to build off of to recreate that wheel. And then I stripped it, powder coated it, and made it for my car, basically. So I put the Type R suspension on the car, so I had 4-on-114, which is what a Corolla is. So the adapters bolt on, so that's how I was able to get the center locks on it and all that stuff. So it's a really neat story because I basically reached into HRE's history of Hayashi Racing to find these wheels and then put them on my car when I restored it, which was, to me, it means a lot.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Those wheels will probably never come off that car. The fact that I actually have 2 sets of them now. Somebody reached out to me online and said, hey, I've got a set of these wheels still brand new in the box, but they're missing the center lock adapters. You're the only person I know that owns a set of these adapters. Would you want the wheels? And I said, well, how much are you asking? He's like, dude, throw me $300. They're yours. They're brand new in the box. So I have 2 sets of them. Dude. I have an original set in the silver with all the cool stickers and everything, and then I have my refurbished set that I did.
Sweet, dude.
So they're not worth anything to anybody else. To me, it's more history of HRE and me being a part of that project and restoring the car, and it all just sort of makes sense for me. If I were to sell the car, it's probably the first thing someone would take off of it. But it's okay.
It has its own look, dude. Your car definitely does have its own look.
Yeah, love it or hate it, it's definitely one that I get a lot of comments on the car, but I don't know if people like it or not. Like it is what it is, and I really don't care. You know, I built it for me, and I love it. So, we never talked about the Fluoro yellow hit on all my cars.
I was just gonna say that. What made you pick that highlighter color that's an accent on the car?
It's funny because it goes back to
oh shit, you got the kicks on.
Well, so here's the thing. That all goes back to my running days. And when I was a runner, cross country and track, my parents would come watch me run. And a lot of times in cross country, as you know, you run through the woods and you're far away from where the people are watching. There was this one pair of Nike running shoes that was fluorescent yellow, or Volt, as it's called. I got those shoes numerous years in a row because it made it easy for my mom to find me when I was running, because I was the only one that had them, and they're super bright and she could see it from across the field. So the fluoro yellow shoes sort of became a thing for me as a runner. So then when I started building cars for myself, I was like, well, how can I tie this into my personality? Like, what would someone think about if they saw this car? And that was what came to mind was, the fluoro sneakers or running shoes. So I integrated the Volt color into my project cars, which, as I mentioned earlier, are mostly always white. So it's almost always white and fluoro with like a gray or a blue, which are a couple of my other favorite colors. And so that's where that all came from. And so I just sort of carried over onto all my builds.
Dude, that's funny. When I was doing pre-production yesterday, I was going through your Instagram just thinking of like topics and stuff. And dude, as far as I could scroll, 2012 or whatever, you keep seeing that color pop up.
Yeah.
And I seen that picture where you had like the whole outfit on.
Yeah.
It was the whole Volt color outfit on. And I was like, damn.
It's old.
That's tight, dude. That's really cool that your build has a story to it.
Yeah.
And I would definitely recommend people going that route as opposed to just doing what is in at the time. What's the trend? What are the popular dudes doing? Because trends and all of that stuff change over time. And it's better to have a car that tells a story.
Well, it's no different than your gray EG out there with the graffitied engine bay and stuff. That all, it could mean nothing to me. But to you, that's the heart and soul of that build. Like, because that means something to you, whether it be your past or, you used to be a graffiti. I don't know what the correlation is there, but like to you, that means a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what the fluoro and white means to me, is a lot. It means nothing to you. But I challenge anybody that's building cars today to integrate their soul into what they're building, because at the end of the day, if you're building it for IG clout, you're building it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You need to build it to make yourself happy. That when you get in it, it's an extension of you and what you're about. And that's why I do that to my cars, because I want people to see it and to see it as a big Mickey. That's Mickey. That's what he's about. That's his shit. Boom. People see those cars and apparently know it's mine. That's cool. Like, to me, you're winning.
I've talked about this before, man. Is cars, they're inanimate objects, materialistic and so on, but they have a life as well. That EG that's in the garage now, it's gonna live on from here until the final day when it goes to the junkyard or what have you, becomes scrap, and then those particles still become something else until that they're in their final resting place. That car is gonna live on past me.
Yep.
So one thing with that, guys, this is the Heavy in the Streets EG, the gray one with the graffiti and stuff. That car belonged to Ryan Hegner, the CEO of iBot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. So back in the day, Ryan had that EG. It was a red EG, and that was when he was in the midst of it, going to meets and doing things like that. People back in the day, they remember him for that car.
I didn't know.
Crazy,
that.
Right?
Yeah, I recall the car.
So then from there, it ended up going to Gil at Circuit Hero.
Okay.
So this was back in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. That car actually ended up getting cover of Honda Tuning. It was that gray color. It was a K-swap, and can't remember that much more off. It had like ASE parts on it. Looked really good. I remember seeing that car at an IBOC or whatever, because you're in it, so you see, okay, that's the new Circuit Hero build or whatever.
Yep.
So then they ended up partying the car out and they were just selling the shell. And at that time, it was probably 2014, late 2014. And I had already done everything I wanted to do with my SIRS and I wanted a new build. So I ended up buying the shell from them and they're out your way too. I believe in San Diego.
Circuit Hero?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I follow them on IG and everything.
Yeah.
No idea.
So now they had sold Circuit Hero maybe a few years back, maybe about 3 years ago. Okay. So it's not the same guys anymore. But when those guys were in the midst of it, they were killing it, dude, with that car. Sure. And then they had their, it was like a black Integra, I believe so.
I remember that, yeah.
So the Circuit Hero guys. So I bought the shell from them and got the car, and then I started shaving the bay, but it didn't come out how I wanted it to. Like I had my buddy and he was shaving it for me, but it was a side thing for him, so he can only do it every once in a while. So it wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to. Right. So the car sat for like 2-3 years at least, rusted out engine bay because the metal was raw, grinding away at it and stuff. So then one day, I in the restroom, I have like a hit-up board where you tag on it or whatever. I wrote the exact date that I came up with the idea. One day I was like, you know what, fuck it, dude. The engine bay is half shaven. I don't care, bro. I want to do a graffiti theme in it because in 2009, 2008, Hybrid Racing, they did their Del Sol with the graffiti engine bay in it.
Oh, no kidding.
And that was like one of my top 3 favorite engine bays. Like that car looks so awesome. Not the car, because to be honest, I don't even know what the car looked like. It was you were
inspired by the engine bay.
The picture of it would be on NWP and stuff, and for it to be K series back then, like dude, that if you had a K series in 2008, 2009, around then, you were balling, bro, because you're talking at least 10 G's.
Yep.
Right. And sidebar, I don't know if you remember the Hybrid Racing video where they're racing and it's like Guns N' Roses playing and they're racing an Evo and it pops up like Evo fucking 97 pounds of boost, K series stock, you know. I
never saw that,
dude. It's such a classic video, bro.
Yeah.
And when I seen that video, I was like, oh shit. So I had this idea about that car. It wasn't that same car, but it was just like, dude, this is the Hybrid Racing Del Sol.
That type, yeah.
So I always fell in love with that engine bay. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to do it like that because that's going to cover any imperfections, anything that's not shaped or whatever. So be it. Like, graffiti isn't meant to look perfect and nice, just like the back wall right here. It's not meant to look it's meant to look raw. And that just goes from, you know, my past, my culture, just the things that I've grown up with. And then once I did that, I just thought, like, you know what, fuck it, dude, I have so many parts left over. This car is gonna be my fun build. The SIRS, I did the bad thing of building it for shows and trying to be perfect and trying to be in magazines and shit, you know, and that stuff, in hindsight, it wasn't the best idea that I should have done it for, because that car's went through like so many different changes, you know,
all kinds of iterations.
When I got this car, I did the engine bay, and I'm like, okay, what can I do next? Boom, Lambo doors. Ever since Fast and Furious came out, I always wanted Lambo doors. Threw Lambo doors on it. Underglow, did the same thing. Nitrous purgers, you know. But then I tapped into the other side of me that wanted things to look clean, sleek, and as minimalist as possible. So I tucked all the wiring on the inside, and
that's insane.
Yeah, I was showing you that.
Yeah.
And the state that the car is at right now, you think that it's gutted, but put the doors back on and
plug
just put small things. Yeah, plug everything in. You're ready to go. So I built that car with attention to every step of an enthusiast that I've been, from the kid who didn't even have a car to the business owner aspect of it all, using it for marketing and working with these brands and embedded these brands into the graffiti, not just putting a sticker on the windshield.
Right.
You know, Hasport, Rywire in there, Checkered Sports, K-Tuned, all those guys, they helped me make this vision become a reality. So that car is going to live on, and who knows where that's going to go in the future, but I'm excited to see it go somewhere cool, man, and hopefully the story lives on.
Yeah, it will. You know? I mean, it will. As long as you tell your side of the story to the new owner, I mean, it will go on forever.
Yeah, and
cool.
then
and that car, I mean, the car's been everywhere on the internet, so
yeah,
everybody knows that car.
Hell yeah, dude! And I know Ryan Hegner's listening right now, and he thinks a totally different way about that car. He's like, "What the fuck happened to my car?"
Ryan is one guy that I've never gotten to know.
Oh, dude!
I know him. I know of him, and I recognize him from all the events and photographies he's been in and things like that. But I've never had the chance to actually chat with him, and that's one guy that I would like to know.
You have to, bro. Yeah. You have to go to Grid Life. You should go, dude.
Yeah, so Throttle has actually been in conversation with Grid Life about about getting involved. In fact, we're building a car right now that if you've listened this long, you deserve this little Easter egg. But I'm hoping to race that out at Grid Life
in Atlanta.
At more of them than that.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, it's not a personal thing. It's a Throttle car that we're building, but I see it being a car that we can all take and enjoy at the track. And Grid Life is sort of the goal for that.
Shout out to fucking Grid Life, dude.
Dude, they've come up. Yeah, they're very smart dudes.
I remember Chris from back when I was going to Import Alliance, and he was telling me about the idea of Grid Life before it became anything.
It's so hard to do events nowadays and do something fresh. You know, it seems like, I don't know if you feel this way, but and no offense to any of my event promoter friends out there or people that own events, car shows have become this sort of cookie cutter thing, and it's not a bad thing because I enjoy car shows. I really like going and enjoying the people that I meet and seeing the cars, but it's always, you know, either an indoor venue or an outdoor parking lot, bunch of cars parked around randomly, and there's really nobody setting a trend that's different. And in the past couple years, I mean, there was the hot import nights craze that sort of changed the game, and now everybody was doing that model, and then now we've got, you know, the autocons of the world who stepped it up and did the stage deal where you pull the car over the stage on.
Yes.
You know, Stance Wars up in Seattle in the parking garage is super rad, very Fast and Furious vibe. And those are the ones that sort of stand out to me, and then everything else is just kind of this like, oh, that's all kind of this run into the same. And I'm not saying it is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a car show, and that's what we anticipate car shows to be. But Grid Life, they really like grabbed a concept, and I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, not gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah. And
here they are a few years later, just crushing the game. And the amount of people I talk to and say, you have to get involved with Grid Life, it happens often.
Dude, I don't even say that in a business way. I say that as I don't like either.
I'm saying it as an enthusiast. Yeah.
Dude, when I went to Grid Life in 2016, I went to Atlanta Grid Life. We actually camped there, and bro, I had one of the best weekends ever, dude. We went to Walmart and
often.
Rented all the equipment that we needed.
Rented.
Dude, I from Walmart, I rented a 20-person tent, which can fit at least 3 queen-size blow-up mattresses.
Wait, dude. So I want to know how that goes. So
it's perfect. So if you guys want to rent anything from Walmart, it's the best, dude. You go in there, you buy whatever you need, and when you're done with it, you bring it back and say that the product was inferior, and there you go.
This tent didn't work.
This tent was too big. This tent was too small. This tent was cold. This tent was hot. Whatever it was, you know, the porridge was bad, bro. That's how it goes, dude. It's a corporation, and that's how they're built.
My morals don't allow me to do such things.
They don't care, dude, because I told the employees that we were just gonna return it after we did, and they did not care either, dude.
Nah.
As much as Walmart doesn't care about the mom and pop shops, I mean, morally, you're right, but
that's a pretty funny story. But the sad thing is I also know of a couple brands that attend events that actually do the same thing, and they go get their 6-foot folding tables and an easy up every event
all day,
and
bro.
Return it before they head back to the airport.
You know what? The respect that I do, I take the little legs off of them, the little rubber pieces. I'll take them off of them.
Oh, so they don't get scratched.
I'll leave the paper on the top, and I'll cover it with a tablecloth. Yeah. And then you just return it. Look, man, to be able to do shows from California and to do a show in New Jersey, it's not the easiest thing, dude. And especially to get our product over there. I'm literally carrying 150 pounds of hardware with me every time. 50 pounds in one bag, 50 pounds in the other bag, a backpack full of shit, and then a suitcase full of shit, like my carry-on, and a backpack with like underwear and socks just as small as possible. And that's like, okay, cool. If I need anything, I gotta buy it there.
Clothes are optional.
Yeah,
we gotta get these bolts there.
We gotta figure this shit out, right? You go to Walmart, you go to Home Depot or whatever. You get these tables, you use it. I have like tablecloth that take the little legs off, and then once it's done, you go take it back. These are things that you have to do to make it work. You're not stealing from anybody. Nah. You're simply renting. So you guys listening right now, rent your equipment, and I'll see you at Grid Life in August.
Rent your equipment.
But this year, Grid Life is teaming up with IBOC Meat. So IBOC Meat for the last couple of years have been doing a tour, and every year Ryan just expands it to more locations and more locations. And I've been at, if I haven't been at every single one, I've probably just missed one, but I don't think I've even missed one yet. We have like a really small knit group. It's like Ryan Hegner, Big Mike, myself, and then sometimes it would be RC from RC's Garage, Mike SI from Arizona, and then Rywire. And when we all go together, and then sometimes my wife will go along with us, which is so tight, bro, because those guys have become more than just automotive friends to me. So we all just mesh together perfectly.
That's so cool.
But Ryan will rent a big Airbnb and we'll all stay at the same house. And you're talking a house like 8 rooms, and we're all in there, and all night, dude, we're just talking about cars, life, everything, just ideas spawning, and awesome. That's what's gonna happen at Grid Life, man. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, so Throttle's been talking to them about potentially becoming a partner in some way, shape, or form. But I'm talking about, going from a total grassroots standpoint.
Yes.
Aside from business, I would love to go there and just rip a car on the track and hang out and go to the concert, and like what they're doing is such a great service to our community. It's just refreshing.
Yeah,
I guess is the best way to put it.
Definitely, man.
Shout out to them.
When you talk to Chris, you see the passion oozing out of his eyes, man. Like he saw the vision of Grid Life before it even was a concept to me. Like I didn't think anything of what it could be.
Yeah, there was another event out there on the East Coast. I think it was called Hyperfest or something like that, and it was very much similar. They had, an act at the end of the night after the day was over of concert, and it was very similar. But I think that the boys at Grid Life kind of took it one step further and really turned up the wick and made it awesome.
Yeah,
and I look forward to attending my first one.
Dope, man. I hope to see you in Atlanta. I think that would be super rad, bro.
I don't think I can make it in August.
No?
Yeah, unfortunately, August, September, October is really bad months for me, personally. My father comes out from Ohio for a month and stays with me. And if you guys watch the Throttle YouTube channel, you've seen Big Jeff on there. He helped us get the RX-7 ready last year. And then I just have a lot of family visiting in and out of town, and then SEMA's looming, and there's always the dreaded all-nighter SEMA build stuff, and so this part of the year is my favorite. That part of the year is my favorite because of all that activity, but it's also my least favorite because I just don't relax at all.
Same, bro. Yeah, when SEMA starts coming around, that just these sleepless nights are gonna come around.
I keep telling myself I'm never going to do a SEMA car build again, but somehow I keep getting duped into doing these things.
I feel you, man.
The reward is good at the end. The reward of getting the car there on the floor and wiping it off the one last time before the show opens is like, then you go have that first beer the first night and it all feels good. But then you're like, I'm never doing this ever, ever, ever again. And then you find yourself in the same boat 9 months later.
I enjoy all of the stress when we're at the dub party and everybody's there just having a great time, and you get to connect with people on different levels than just sponsorships and cars and things like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I bought the RX-7 last year from the ex-editor of Super Street. The first time I saw him again after the transaction was at the dub party.
Oh, really?
And the car had been completely taken from nothing to what it is today. And he was pretty stoked. He didn't know anything about it. He didn't watch any YouTube videos. He didn't.
No.
I was texting him updates. He didn't respond ever. Like, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I showed him the finished product at the dub party. He was like, "Holy cow, you guys went crazy! You did that in 9 months."
Dude, that's a good feeling.
Like, 9 months? We did it in 3 months.
To see his car, on its next journey in life, that's an awesome thing to see.
Yeah, what's cool about that RX-7 is I actually built it to his vision, not mine.
Really?
Yeah. So all the parts it came with, I used on the car, except for the headlights. That's the only thing I didn't get rid of. Because he had like these early 2000s, like you take the pop-up headlights out and you put these buckets in. It has like these halo headlights. They were very cool back then, I guess.
Got you.
I never got into them, but that's the only thing I didn't use on the car.
And that's the bad Apple one, right?
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
So I have version 1 of that car, which is what it is right now, was basically his vision for the exterior. None of the hood was all me, but the color, everything.
Dope, man. So
the idea was to finish it his vision because he was kind enough to sell me the car, and then now I can move on to.
That car came out great, man.
Thank you.
I can't tell you which one I like better because that 240.
The orange one?
That one grew on me tough, bro. I watched
I'm not even a Rocket Bunny kit fan. And
I
fell in love with the thing,
dude. I was watching one of the videos and just seeing all the attention to detail that you took on that car, you and the guys. Everything just flowed so perfectly. So that brings me to my next question. What's next?
Yeah, it's a hard act to follow, and I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't worried about how I'm going to do one better.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much pull out all the stops on that one, Ricky and I. But, the next car we're giving away is a 335i. So reaching back into our bag of tricks, we're going with a Euro car this time. Evan's a big BMW fan. Rick's a Porsche and Mercedes-Benz fan. So we've got some Euro roots in the company, and I also had the E91 wagon. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna build that one and give it away next. I know we've got 2 concurrent projects that are potential giveaways, but one of them is one of the cars I was referring to about taking to the track. So
nice.
One of them will be a keeper, and potentially the other one will get given away. So we've got a full plate. We've got 4 projects going on at once right now.
And all of these projects are on the channel now?
Yep. Yeah, you can follow all of them. 2 of them are getting kicked off currently, and the 335 and the Toyota MR2 have been ongoing, and then the Porsche we just finished is going to go off to paint. We just wide body. So we've been doing a lot of cutting lately, hence my bandages. I think I've become the US version of Nakai. I've just been cutting cars like every day, cutting fenders off of cars and putting on over fenders. And but if I said I wasn't having fun, I'd be lying.
That's all that matters, dude. Hell yeah, blast. Bro. Speaking of fun, are you going back to Auto Salon this year?
Yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
Actually, we just had that meeting yesterday, so the Throttle team will be present.
Oh, dude, dope.
So all the guys are going to go.
I'm excited, man.
I think TJ will probably go as well.
We ran into you guys like 17 times in January.
Yeah, the white boys are all getting around. Going to the same places.
Yeah, dude, but it would be cool if we get to hang out over there, man.
No, we will for sure.
I always enjoy the times in Auto Salon.
Yeah, it's so cool over there. It's such a different world, and I challenge anybody that hasn't been to Japan to go there and not be impressed with the quality of life there, the cleanliness.
Hell yeah.
It's just it's a whole new world over there. It's not what you anticipate until you go there, and then it's like, yo, this is my favorite country to travel to.
100%. Dude, everybody listening right now, Auto Salon is in January. You don't need any special thing to get in. You just need a ticket.
It's not like SEMA.
If you can save $3,500, and that is a lot.
Yeah, that's
$3,500
out. Yeah.
with that's a set of wheels. People listening right now have no problem spending $3,500 on a set of wheels and waiting a year and a half to get these wheels done. Yeah. Guys, this is life experiences that is going to change your outlook on life. Any excuses that you have, anything about, I don't speak the language, I don't like the food, all of that is erased. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They have Burger Kings. They have Starbucks, McDonald's, whatever.
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
Which is bomb food, by the way.
Dude, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. The egg sandwiches, those are my favorite. Ash loved those, mine too. Dude. Yeah. We actually saw some at a 7-Eleven here, and I was like, nah, man, not the same.
No. If you like the egg sandwiches, which is one of my favorites, 7-Eleven, you have to try the pancake sandwich.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, man, I just gave away my secret.
Dude, I'm trying those,
They only put, I think, like 4 or 6 of them at each 7-Eleven. But there's 7-Elevens all over the place in Japan. But it's 2 pancakes as the bread. And then in between is syrup and butter.
No shit.
And it comes in a clear plastic wrapper. And you just pop it open. Dude.
I love Japan, bro. We've actually been throwing around the idea that maybe in the future sometime to spend like a year in Japan. You know, how hard can it really be? Just rent a place in Japan and
it's not hard at all. It's more so the language barrier for me. The nice thing is that Japan does a really good job of teaching their students English.
Yes.
So oftentimes you find yourself lost on the train or something. Someone will come up to you, and it may be broken English, but you can understand it well enough to say, trying to go here, and they say, okay, take the red line, boom, to here, boom.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of English-speaking people in Japan. They may not be obvious, but they're there.
Yeah.
And don't be scared. You should go.
Guys,
it's awesome.
Plan it right now. As you're listening to this right now, once the podcast is over, go plan your trip. If somebody goes
January, right?
January. If somebody goes to Auto Salon because of this podcast, I'll take you out to dinner.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we'll see how big that dinner gets. Dude, we could all get Japanese barbecue, grub, and have a great time, man. I guarantee it'll change your life. It'll be one of the best things that you did. It'll be way better than wheels.
The other destination I like, and you should take them up on that offer because it's pretty dope.
I definitely will.
I'll join as well.
What's that?
If people come out to Auto Salon, I'll join as well.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Yeah, so last year I went out. So I worked for Mad Mike for a couple of years, and that's obviously where he's from. Never been. So last year he holds an event called Summer Bash, which is ironically enough during our winter because they're in New Zealand. And so I flew out there with TJ and Calvin, and I had been there previously. What the hell did I go out there for? Can't remember. Anyway, so it was my second time, and we took in Mad Mike's Summer Bash event, and oh my god, was it awesome!
No shit.
So I've already bought my tickets to go again.
When is it again?
It's December 6th and 7th this year.
Really?
So it's like you go to New Zealand for Summer Bash, check that out, which is super rad. And then this year we're going to go to South Island, New Zealand, and check out a bunch of spots there. And then I come back for a few weeks, and then it's off to Japan for Auto Salon. So it's going to be a dope end of the year for me.
Dude, Mickey, we should really do this, bro. Mickey and Frank's
Let's go.
Auto Salon dinner.
Yeah.
See who's man enough to make it out there, bro. That'll be really cool.
Up.
Before we get out of here, you brought up Calvin, dude. I would watch some of the podcasts that him and TJ were doing. Was it Calvin and TJ podcast?
Yep.
And a lot of subjects he would bring up were really intriguing to me, dude. It seems like he's got a lot going on in that brain besides car stuff.
He's a unique cat. Very cool dude. But yeah, his mentality is on another level. I don't oftentimes understand Calvin, but it's not because I don't want to. Like I actually appreciate the differentiation of thought that he has versus mine. Is we're on two totally ends of the spectrum, which is awesome. Like he and I will sit down and have conversations, and you'll just be sitting there going, what the hell is going on right now?
And that's more down my road, bro. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, Calvin's such a neat cat. You know, I get to spend pretty much every day with him and TJ, so it's interesting to interact with those guys being much younger than me. Like, I came to the realization today that I graduated high school the same year TJ was born. So I'm literally old enough to be his father. I was 18 when he was born.
Wow.
So yeah, it's neat to have them around because I feel like I can help sort of mentor them a little bit in the car scene, but I'm learning heaps from them too. Definitely. Because TJ is an expert in the YouTube space. Calvin is growing his Twitch channel, which is going swimmingly for him, and so I'm learning a lot about that from him, which is cool. And yeah, it's neat to be around those guys every day.
Definitely. I would this is my invite to Calvin. I would love to have him on the podcast because I would want to talk about a lot of crazy shit that he wants to talk about, dude. I'm all ears. I remember they were talking about...
I never got to be on the podcast.
No?
I was sitting in the same room.
There's one episode where he was talking about lucid dreaming.
Yeah. And
as he's talking, I'm engaged. And I just see TJ just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
No, TJ knows all about that shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've had this conversation.
Really? Yeah. Dude, these are the kind of conversations I like to get into, bro.
We'll save that for the next time I come up.
Yeah, definitely, man. Calvin, we got to get you on here, bro. But, dude, much love to you, bro. You're killing it out here, man.
Thanks, bro. Likewise.
You're definitely a really good example of somebody who just can make a career in this industry no matter what happens, no matter how many changes. You've been able to brand yourself as one of the members of the community, and no matter where you end up, you're always gonna thrive, dude. Cool, and I applaud you for that, dude.
Appreciate that.
Of course, bro. So everybody listening right now, where can they find you at?
On Instagram, just my name, Mickey Andrade, and Throttle. Dope, so if you don't subscribe already, please do that. We're trying to get to 1 million. That's
what are you guys at right now?
430,000, I think.
430, dude. I have a feeling you could do a mid, maybe at the end of the year.
We're hoping.
Yeah?
That's a goal.
You know what my goal is? And I'm going to need your help with this. I need some tips and tricks. I want to get Downstar to 100K. We're about 81 right now.
100K is I don't want to go off on another tangent, but 100K is a big benchmark.
Yeah.
When you hit that 100K, it's a good feeling.
I'm trying, bro. I could definitely be trying harder.
No.
But
like I said earlier,
that's my goal.
It's a consistency game and understanding what it takes to be consistent and make it a job. It's a job. And people have to look at it like a job.
Definitely, man. Yeah. And I'm on my hustle every day, so everybody listening right now, make sure you follow at Downstar.
We know you're hustling, bro. We see you out there.
Mickey, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, brother.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Episode 83, Downtime with Downstar. We out. Peace.